Hello, hello, welcome back to another new stream of Higurashi Meakashi. Meakashi. Last time, we went through chapters 5, 6, 7. Huh. I feel like I also did 8 and I forgot to save. No, we didn't. 5, 6, 7 it was. Yeah. Which was essentially the part where the murders occurred in Hinamizawa in the fourth year, and where Satoshi disappears. And that was includes some fucked up parts, let me tell you that. Also, Shion really didn't handle any of that right. I mean, panic and whatnot, sure, but some of the parts she was kind of being pretty self-centered. In a way of not really thinking about others, what she's doing, letting her emotions just take over in a negative way. Anyway, now it is past the section where, what's it called? Satoshi's gone. And I am interested to see if we're continuing from there or if we're doing a time skip. Let me see. Eh? What did you just say? This information from a reliable source. It appears that they found the murder of Satoshi-kun's aunt. It had been a few weeks since that murder. Satoshi-kun still hadn't been found. Had no new information on his whereabouts. Kase reports on a result completely out of the blue. Does that mean the police arrested the culprit? It seems that he confessed during the interrogation regarding another case. That sounded strange. If it was Satoshi-kun they arrested, he wouldn't have worded it that way. It sounded as though Satoshi-kun wasn't the culprit. Kasai? Who's the culprit? If it wasn't Satoshi-kun, I saw those words. I was convinced it was Satoshi-kun. The police and Oishi must have thought the same way. The reason Oishi approached me is because he was convinced that Satoshi-kun did it. Don't worry. It doesn't seem like it's Satoshi-kun. I heard from the lunatic who was aiming to continue the series of mysterious deaths. What? A lunatic? What do you mean? Kasei shrugged. I don't know. This investigation is classified as a confidential case. The information I get is limited. Confidential? Why? Prevent the village from developing a bad reputation. You don't see articles about kidnapping while the police are negotiating with the culprit, do you? It's something similar to that. Come to think of it, I hadn't seen anything about the aunt's murder on TV or in the newspaper. These strange deaths have happened 4 years in a row now, on the day of the Watanagashi. There are those who try to make light of it. Now that this lunatic who confessed to aunt's murder said he did an imitation of series of mysterious deaths, Kasa didn't know anything else. Instead of probing him further, I reviewed information myself. Was really shocked to learn all of this. Was convinced that Satoshi-kun killed her. Thought that was a reason he had disappeared. But it was actually some lunatic who killed her, and he had no relationship to the aunt whatsoever. So Satoshi-kun had nothing to do with the murder. One moment. Yes, cat, I can see you. I know you want the treat. My cat wants its morning treat. Oh, her morning treat, and then she's going to disappear. Probably. So Satoshi-kun had nothing to do with the murder? If so, why did he disappear? Couldn't accept that this lunatic had killed the aunt. And what's really strange is the phrase Kase used 4 years in a row. After all, I'd been thinking that this murder happened because Satoshi-kun had been in a dire situation, had nothing to do with the series of mysterious deaths. Felt as though Satoshi-kun's case had become somebody else's. The series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa is also known as the curse of Oyoshio-sama. Satoshi-kun's case had become one of those mysterious deaths. In other words, Satoshi-kun's case had become part of the Oyoshio-sama's curse. I didn't like the sound of that, the way that sounded. Because it was as though the curse had swallowed Satoshi-kun. Unfortunately, we can't be able to confirm the tip that Satoshi-kun took a train to Tokyo. We don't even know whether he's in this prefecture or not, to be honest. Oishi-san broke the seal on a new can of instant coffee. I thought you knew his whereabouts already, since you seemed very convinced that he was the culprit. You got me. Oishi chuckled and poured a cup of coffee, which looked far too hot. We have some good sources. Huh? It's a highly classified case, but you already have this information. I wonder who leaked it. Looks like we need to review our security precautions. Oishi smirked. Seems like he knew why I was here today. I'm one of the Sonozakis after all. And my ears are open. I smirked back at him. It's all about bluffing. Anyway, since we're now friends. Since we're friends now. Okay, cat. Okay. She did not instantly disappear. Instead, she's in my lap and wants to get petted this time. Which isn't that weird for her, but lately she wasn't in a petting mood. I swear, every time I am recording, the wind picks up. Anyway, as we're friends now, why don't we have a chat? Let me ask you first. Who's this real culprit? I heard he was a lunatic, but what does that mean? I don't know how to answer that question. I want to know the answer myself. I really am convinced that Satoshi-kun was the real culprit. That's rather surprising for me too. Oishi threw himself on the sofa, crossed his hands behind his head. He looked at the ceiling and smiled wryly. Suddenly received a call for prefecture police the other day. They said that one of the guys in the detention confessed to the murder of the housewife. Who is it? He's a real piece of work who fell into a drug habit. He's been in and out of the prison for drug abuse. His statement says that he was interested in the series of mysterious deaths and wanted to imitate them. Are you sure he's the real culprit? I didn't interrogate him myself. The prefecture police tells me that he has information that only the real culprit would know. He seems to have thrown the murder weapon into Oiji River. They're searching for it right now. If it's found, the statement will be solid. Even if the weapon wasn't found, would the case be closed? Probably. This statement clearly outlines the state of the crime scene and the body. This information, like I said, covers details that only the actual murderer would know. And I suppose the police too. You don't seem quite convinced. Oishi looked at the ceiling and went quiet. Matter of fact, the moron was already dead. The music is being a bit loud. Oh, I just remembered. Good thing I just remembered. I said I would switch song types to the old one. Moron was already dead by the time I got the call. Dead? You know the spoons that are forked at the tip? Ah, yes, of course, spokes. They used those at the detention facility. Was told that he swallowed one and choked on it. They couldn't tell if it was suicide or if it was caused by mental disorder. Imagine somebody swallowing the spoon and gagged. So the investigation hadn't been done that thoroughly. But although I'm not convinced my superiors are, I think with that the case will be closed. Oishi turned his eyes from the ceiling to me. He looked serious. This is just what I personally feel, okay? So please keep this between the two of us. I believe that this moron is some kind of mistake. It might be either a big misunderstanding caused by a chain of coincidences or, you know. I have no idea what you're talking about. Still believe that the real culprit is Satoshi Hojo-kun. You sound confident. Unfortunately, I couldn't find anything to prove that he was at the crime scene. We obtained a warrant to search his house after he disappeared, but we still found nothing. But you still believe that he did it? Yes. I wonder how you can be so sure, even though you still don't have any evidence. It's incredible. Is that supposed to be the hunch of an experienced detective? Yep. It's the hunch of a guy who's been doing this in this business for several decades. Oishi smiled in satisfaction, but didn't feel relieved. Where did Satoshi-kun go? The disappearance convinced me that he was the culprit. If he was the culprit, there'd be no real reason for him to disappear. What if the murder actually was done by the copycat? Satoshi-kun disappeared and has nothing to do with it. In other words, what if Satoshi-kun disappeared because the Sonozaki family didn't like my relationship with him? He has nothing to do with the murder. Was Satoshi-kun a culprit? Or a victim? The reason for his disappearance had become unclear. I don't think they're bothered to make one person disappear just because of an undesirable relationship. What do you hear from the inside the Sonozaki family? Do you know anything? I wouldn't be here if I did. You're right. Oishi laughed out loud while scratching his head. And after he stopped laughing, he leaned over. Alright, how about this? Why don't we make a deal? A gentleman's deal. A deal? On what? On information about Satoshi-kun's disappearance. If you find any information like that, you tell me. I'll supply you with information if I find any. Do we have a deal? That sounds too convenient for you? Oishi chuckled. Shin-san, I think we leave things as they are. They'll conclude that the moron committed the murder. If that happens, Satoshi-kun's disappearance will be treated as just another runaway minor. They won't search for him as actively as before. I'll continue searching for him. Only I will do it. I believe you're tending to do the same. Our motives are different, though. Just want to know if he's safe, but you'd like to arrest him, wouldn't you? If the murder case was considered solved, Satoshi-kun would be free, regardless of innocence. I doubt that. Oishi chuckled again, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. Well, let's be friends from now on. The enemy of your enemy is your friend, no? I'm not opposed to the Sonozaki family, though. Oh, really? I apologize then. Yeah, that's a terrible lie. This is the way of Kurado Oishi, huh? As Sis and Kasai said, I wouldn't want him as my enemy or my ally, because both would be too risky. True. Probably shouldn't let my guard down in front of the big fat weasel. I sipped on the coffee to fill up the silence, though I wasn't thirsty. Outside the window, I could see normal life taking its course. But Satoshi-kun wasn't there. He should have been there, but he wasn't. I was scared that I might grow used to the absence someday. Where was he? I wonder how Satoshi-kun is doing. Hope he's alright. Oh no, you think he might be dead. Don't patronize me. Do you know what people are calling his disappearance in Mizawa? Huh? They say that he was demoned away. Demoned away means that the same thing as being spirited away. It's a part of the local dialect. He was kidnapped and then taken to hell to the bottom of Onigafuji Swamp. That's ridiculous. Anyway, the series of mysteries deaths has struck a full time. It's too soon, but people are already talking about next year. Are you saying the murder was the result of Shizuma's curse? The victim was one of Hojo's after all. He was involved in the dam conflict, though indirectly. Really, it's not surprising that some people take an interest in the incidents because they do always happen on the day of Watanagashi. That's ridiculous too, Hoshosama's curse. Though I said that, I couldn't quite wipe away the fear from my mind. Why did Satoshi-kun disappear? Was it the Sonozaki family? Did he run away from the police? Did he kill his aunt in the first place? Why did he even disappear? He's on his own. Oshio-sama's curse has nothing to do with it. But, that's strange. Toshikun and Oshio-sama's curse. Somebody once mentioned those two together before. When did I hear that? That's right. The rainy day. It was Rena Ryugu who told me that. When we were taking shelter in that shack. Remember the creepy story that she told me that time? Satoshi-kun wants to leave Hinamizawa and run away. Even if only unconsciously. That's what Rena Ryugu said. Rena had definitely pointed out that Satoshi-kun wanted to leave Hinamizawa at that time. She also said, everything he's going through is a sign of Oyoshio-sama's curse. She said that. For sure. She had definitely mentioned Oyoshio-sama's curse. The series of mysterious deaths had struck 4 times. Was Satoshi-kun being controlled by the curse? Is that why he killed his aunt and was demoned away? No way. That can't be true. Satoshi-kun's smile faded away in my mind. Jesus, my speaking ability. Satoshi-kun disappeared. Not only that, the reason for his disappearance also disappeared. It must have been done by human beings. I can't accept that he was demoned away. Notebook page 43. And I moved from one chain to another because the air conditioning was too cold. A chair. I moved with my notebook, my pen case, with a bunch of keychains, and my cup of milk tea. Did it all in one go. I sat down in a new chair, then opened my notebook again. I scribbled my thoughts and sank into silence. The series of mysterious deaths. Adopt the curse of Oyoshio-sama. I've been viewing each incident as a separate case, even though it was followed by another one. I've never looked at all the cases as part of one big scheme. After I wrote down all the incidents of paper, it became clear to me that all of them served the same agenda. Wrote down the victims. The first year, the construction site manager. Second year, Satoshi-kun's parents. Third year, the priest. Fourth year, Satoshi-kun's aunt. Fourth year, one could consider Satoshi-kun himself to be a victim rather than his aunt. Consider that each case arose from a grudge over the dam conflict. It's quite simple. In the first year, the construction manager was killed because he was a symbol of the dam construction itself. Of course, the real enemy was the Ministry of Construction, but it wasn't as clear as a target. The manager, on the other hand, had been aggressively shouting back at the villagers, so he was a more appropriate enemy to attack. If Oshio-sama has really cursed someone, it would have been the officials from the ministry. It appeared that the target was selected based on the villagers' preferences. The second year, the accidental death of Satoshi-kun's parents. It said that they fell from a cliff in some park, but it's doubtful that it was really an accident. His parents were labeled as traitors to the village because they sided with the dam construction, even though they were also from Hinamizawa. The Hojo family ostracized during the dam conflict in order to prevent further pro-dam activists from rising up. That means that the Hojos were necessary during the conflict to play the role of the traitor. So, when the conflict was over, they no longer served any purpose. The construction site manager was a symbol of the external enemy. The Hodges were a symbol of the internal enemy. Those people fell victim to the curse, and it seemed that the grudge over the damn conflict had ended. Yet those incidents were followed by another one. The third year, the leader of one of the three families, the priest Furuda, suddenly died of an illness of an unknown cause. His wife drowned herself on the same night. She seemed to have left a note that said she was sacrificing herself to pacify Oroshio-sama's anger. Whether it was a fatal disease or suicide, the deaths looked suspicious. Mion admitted that the Sonozaki family didn't like the priest's attitude. They didn't like how the priest had been generous towards the pro-dam activists. The priest wasn't a traitor, but he was certainly uncooperative. Looking at these incidents, I realized that the curse was performed based on the degree of hostility. Enemy, traitor, and dissident. This meant that the curse was actually payment. It was punishment for the criminals of war. In the fourth year, don't understand the case at first, to be honest. At first I believed that this case was separate from the other ones, even though it occurred on the same day. I never thought that there would be any relationship to the other three. But I wrote it down and looked at it objectively. The victim is a relative of a traitor. And after enemy, traitor, and dissident, relative or traitor doesn't sound too odd. It comes naturally as a fourth target. You could maybe even say sympathizer, considering that Satoshi really didn't like the, what's it called, Sonozaki's for how they were handling his family and whatnot. On the day the villagers worship Oroshio-sama, their guardian deity, the criminals of the damn conflict, have been punished by the curse. Just like how I was forced to pay at the Sonozaki's house, the criminals were made to pay as well. After writing these things out, I started thinking that the fourth incident might be in line with the series of mysterious deaths after all. Whether it was the Satoshi-kun or the dopehead, it seemed that they were forced to play the role of a murderer as a part of a bigger scenario. Even if Satoshi-kun was the real culprit, even if he killed his aunt because of an ordinary grudge, the murder seemed synchronized with the grand scheme of series of mysterious deaths in Misawa, which is a payment plan for the war criminals. That murder was the result of his plan. But what if somebody planned that as a part of a scenario? Yeah, that's where it's too far of a stretch for me. I can see somebody being like going down in order of importance for the murders. But I can't see someone being like, yes, in the first year we will kill this guy. In the second year, these guys will be too cocky and get an accent. In the third year, this guy will finally feel too guilty and commit suicide. In the fourth year, the guy who's a child to the second year guys will finally no longer be able to take the abuse and happen to murder them on this day. Ha ha ha. Or according to plan. For instance, somebody might have suggested to him to kill his aunt on that day, that night, at that place. Okay, I guess, see that kind of thing. But no doubt the Satoshi could decide to kill his in order to protect Satoko. But did he really reach that conclusion on his own? Satoshi-kun was optimistic and somewhat detached as far as I know. Would he really have considered murdering his aunt even if it is to protect his sister? Could it be possible for somebody to have chosen the aunt as a fourth-year murder beforehand? And they used Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun was eliminated because of his connection with them. Looking at it that way, the murder of the first year resembles this case. The main culprit behind the case hasn't been found yet, dead or alive. The other culprits testified that their fight had turned into a slaughter. Wouldn't it be possible that the main culprit had manipulated the situation? What if he had been told to kill someone on that day, at that time and in that place? I'm certain. The first murder resembles Satoshi's case very much. So did that mean that Satoshi-kun was being controlled by somebody else? Oyoshi had presented me with a hypothesis that the Sonozaki family made Satoshi-kun disappear in order to end my relationship with a murderer. Okay, I could kind of see this argument from the previous text box. It could kind of fit. The biggest problem usually is the second one, which mostly seems like an accident. But if, I know, somebody made suggestions for them to go to that place where they died and essentially booby-trapped it or whatever so that it breaks down, it kind of could work. But when I read the notes I wrote down, this experience didn't seem so spontaneous. It seemed like a part of a bigger plan. Since I'd unexpectedly got involved in that plan, I had to be separated from him. When Satoshi-kun was demoted away, as planned, at first I also believed the Sonozaki family made him disappear because they didn't like that I was in love with a member of the family of traitors. But something doesn't add up. Something felt strange. I wasn't the reason for his disappearance after all. Even if I never met him in the first place. Satoshi-kun was supposed to kill his aunt in June 1992 and then disappear. At one point I had been thinking of taking revenge on the hag. I believed that she separated us. But what if my relationship with Satoshi-kun had nothing to do with his disappearance? What would that mean? Who made Satoshi-kun disappear? I need to understand the series of mysterious deaths in order to solve this mystery. What did all the deaths mean? Who was behind them and what purpose did they serve? I wanted to know the purpose, the motive. And who was responsible? Who took Satoshi-kun? I wanted to know if he was still alive. The series of mysterious deaths in Himizawa is also called Oyoshiro-sama's curse. What is that curse? Specifically, what kind of god is Oyoshiro-sama? What blessing does he bring? What punishments does he dole out? Wrote down my thoughts on the notebook. What's Oyoshiro-sama? What is he? Scribble down those things down. I was so absorbed by it that I didn't realize somebody had been standing behind me, watching me the whole time. Couldn't stop myself from gasping when I realized that. Ah! I'm sorry. Did I startle you? Oh no! The she-witch! The intelligent-looking woman giggled. No, I was just a bit surprised. Sorry about that. She could have apologized a little better too, since she'd been watching me from behind. But she just stared at my face instead. Are you Shion Sonozaki-san? You must know sis since you know my name, but I don't know who you are. Being twins is a pain sometimes. People you never met before can tell exactly who you are. Hehehe, I'm sorry. The Sonozakis I know would never be seen in a library, so I assumed that you were her twin sister. The woman giggled again. Well, you're right, I'm Shion Sonozaki. Nice to meet you. May I ask your name? Oh, I'm sorry, should introduce myself first. She seemed to love her own hair, because she kept running her finger through it boastfully. Mio Takano. You can call me Mio, Shion-chan. Nice to meet you, Takano-san. Her condescending attitude bugged me. I hate meeting people like that. I closed my notebook and got ready to leave the desk. Oh, are you upset? Thank you for your concern. I'd like to be alone when I'm thinking, so I'm moving to another spot. Excuse me? That's a shame. I thought we'd be good friends. Did you? Don't think so. Finally met someone with the same passion, a fellow researcher of Oyoshi-sama's curse. I think it's quite unusual to meet someone like that. She saw my notes. Her face reddened. These are just theories. It's all nonsense. Just childish scribbles. The series of mysterious deaths is also known as Oyoshi-sama's curse. Though each death is an independent incident, all of them clearly share the same purpose. Each year someone dies with a curse and someone else is sacrificed and disappears. What? What are you saying all of a sudden? Someone dies and someone else? What? I was taken back by the witch spiel, but I realized right away that she'd said something extraordinary. Didn't you notice the number of victims is always even? Haven't you realized that yet? The number of victims is always even? I was confused, but I tried to figure out what that meant. The dam construction site manager died in the first year. There was only one victim. The second year, the victims were the parents, Satoshi-kun, so it was two. The third year, it was the priest. And if her death was also planned, her wife, too. This year, forfeit, Satoshi-kun and her aunt died. Satoshi-kun's aunt and Satoshi-kun went missing. I still said that wrong. If Satoshi-kun's disappearance was planned, the number of victims was 2. That's true. Except for the first one, the victims always came in even numbers, too. Wait. I just concluded myself that the first case resembled the fourth one. The main culprit was still missing. He might have been demoned away, just like Satoshi-kun. See? Doesn't it make sense now? Takano-san sounded like a teacher who showed me how to solve a difficult math problem. I wasn't quite convinced, but I couldn't deny what she said either. Did I give you enough hints? I really would have enjoyed a conversation with you, but I think you prefer being alone. Hehehe. I'm sorry, I wasn't respectful, Mio-san. Please call me Shion. Hehehe. She seemed content that I changed my attitude. She kept giggling for a while. She didn't seem that reliable. I don't want to be acquainted with her for too long. But I don't get to talk to people very much. And what she said interested me. Let me introduce myself again. I'm Mio Takano. Call me Mio. Pleased to meet you, Mio-san. I'm Shion Sonozaki, Mion's twin sister. Please call me Shion. It took the hand that Mio had held out as a sign of reconciliation. Please tell me more. You said that there are always 2 victims? One dies due to the curse and the other one is a sacrifice? Shion-chan, before we get into that, could you tell me why you became interested in this? She leaned over and looked into my eyes. It's kind of uncomfortable. Mio-san, how much do you know about me? I guess you have an idea if you know my name. I don't know much. Just that you recently returned from boarding school. I see. So I think you can imagine that I want to know about the series of mysterious deaths that happened while I was away. I'm just curious. I see. You're curious, eh? I got the impression that she knew what happened to Satoshi-kun and me, because she instantly recognized me as Shion, not Mion. I don't know why I thought that way, as she shouldn't have access to her sources, for instance, Oishi does. It was just that the look in her eyes made me think that way. Let me ask you a question this time. You called me a fellow researcher of Yoshiyama's curse, didn't you? So why are you researching the curse? You also stated that there is always an even number of victims to mysterious deaths. It's true that Mr. Himazawa's mysterious deaths are often called Oshiyama-sama's curse. But why would you delve into mysterious deaths if you're researching the curse itself? Shion-chan, you're asking too many questions at once. I can't tell what you really want to know. Oh, couldn't say anything in return. Maybe I'd been too inquisitive. I'll ask you a question one by one. I'm not just researching the curse, as my subject is much broader than that. I'm researching the history of Onagafuchi village. In plain terms, I'm researching the dark and ancient history of Hinamizawa. Onagafuchi village. Isn't Onagafuchi the bottomless swamp some people believe is connected to hell? And the dark history? Kept asking questions. Mio-sama, however, looked pleased to hear them. Onagafuchi village is the old name for Hinamizawa. So it was known back before the Meiji era. What a dark history. Know a little bit about the man-eating demons, I assume? Ah, the man-eating demons, huh? That was a fairy tale told in Hinamizawa. A long time ago, demons came from the swamp, and while the villagers battled with them, they ended up living peacefully together. The villagers transcended and became a sacred people, having demon blood in their veins. The long-forgotten fairy tale come back into my mind vividly. You know the story because you're a villager, of course. But what about the story of the carnival banquet? Eh? What's that? You know that the villagers have the blood of man-eating demons in their veins, don't you? Yeah, I think I've heard of it. That was a question. Hinamizawa used to be a desolate village, but it grew in prominence after the Second World War and expanded its influence to Okonomiya and other areas. The people who disliked the discrimination against the villagers called us man-eating demons. I remember that. The young villagers don't take it seriously, but the older people can get seriously upset about it. They certainly can't take it as a joke. So the term man-eating demon is forbidden. We normally never use it. Even during my rebellious phase, I never spoke those words. Mio-san, however, seemed to have no qualms with saying it out loud. Are you upset? About what? I know people hate that phrase in Hinamizawa. Apologies if it made you uncomfortable. Your people wouldn't take it, but I'm fine. Would you continue? Thanks. Okay, so, ancient villagers had a custom of cannibalism. They ritualized this custom and held various ceremonies based around it. The festival we hold in June isn't just an early summer festival. It used to be a banquet in which the villagers chased after sacrifice and ate them. They bound the sacrifice to a table, gutted them, and dumped their organs in a river. Wata can mean cotton, but it also means organs. That's the root of the word watanagashi. Organ drifting, watanagashi. Indeed. I believe they started using futon mats to cover it all up around the Meiji era, according to my research. They wouldn't be able to do that openly nowadays. Everything Mio said was talking about sounded startling. I was just taken aback. I couldn't wholly believe it right away. She sensed that from my expression. It's not a hoax. I didn't make any of this up. You promised not to tell anyone. I can show you my notes on Watanagashi. Mio-san took out a notebook from her bag and flipped through it. She appeared to be doing her research thoroughly. Thank you. I'd love to read it. Sure. I'd like to keep it confidential. Hehehe, but I guess I should share it with my fellow researcher. Mio-san handed me the notebook a bit hesitantly. Looked like it'd take a whole night to finish reading. It was densely packed with information. There are copies of various documents and quotes in there too. It wasn't just some delusion of hers. You told me that one person dies because of the curse, another person sacrifices and disappears, right? The person is sacrificed and disappears. Higurashi-kun has gone missing. Did he become a sacrifice? What is a sacrifice anyway? Mio-san looked pleased to hear my question again. She took out another notebook and handed it to me. Okay, why do you even carry around your research notebooks everywhere? I think you'll understand once you read it, but I'll give you a digest version. Oshiro-sama's curse is simply Oshiro-sama's anger. In other words, the curse is caused by Oshiro-sama's anger. Do you follow? Yes. You're saying that Oshiro-sama was mad at the people who opposed the village through the dam conflict, and that's why the curse occurred. That's right. Oshiro-sama's anger has to be pacified. If not, something even worse will occur. So all the successive priests at the Fruit of Shrine had to perform a sacrifice every time the curse struck. In order to pacify Oshiro-sama. Oshiro-sama, it's called a sacrificial ritual. So each year on the day of Watanagashi, one person dies because of the curse. Another one is sacrificed to pacify Oshiro-sama's anger. But only one person is actually murdered each time. I never heard of human sacrifices being made. Naturally, there's no body. The ritual of sacrifice requires the offering to be sunk into Onigofuji swamp. That swamp is bottomless and no one would ever surface once they were thrown in there. Nobody would ever be found, of course. So, one of the victims is always thrown into the swamp every year. Does that mean Satoshi-kun is also at the bottom of the dark green swamp? I don't know. I'm not sure they really throw them into the swamp. But those who make the incidents happen must be eliminated one person based on the legend. Each year, a traitor to the village dies on the day of the Watanagashi because Oshiro-sama's curse. Another one person is sacrificed in order to pacify Oshiro-sama's anger. That person's body will never be found, because he or she is supposedly thrown into a bottomless swamp. Yes, you get it. The series of mysterious deaths always involves both the curse and the sacrifice. It's a system that allows two traitors to die every year. What I'm telling you now probably isn't sufficient. It might be hard to grasp. Instead, I want you to take the time to read my notes. You'll see what I'm telling you isn't far from the truth at all. I heard a man's voice just then. A middle-aged man with a hat was waving at Mio-san from the entrance. Sorry, I think I have to go. I want to talk to you more, but I guess we'll have another chance to chat. I'll leave the notes to you. I'm looking forward to hearing your opinions. Mio-san wrapped up the conversation, headed to where the man was waiting for her. She left her notebooks in my hands. Mio-san waved at me and left the library with her companion. Took a seat again and opened what sheets given me. What bugged me was that the series of mysterious deaths, also known as the Curse of Oshiro-sama, maybe I'd be able to get closer to the truth by reading those notebooks. If I studied them carefully, I might be able to find out who was really behind the incidents. Why did Satoshi-kun have to disappear? What was he involved in? How did that happen? Maybe Takano's notes would bring me the answer. Research notes, Mio Takano. I started flipping the pages, this time making sure no one was watching my shoulder. It was time for the library to close. I had to leave. I bought some food on my way home. Shut my door and locked it right away. Then I heard the door in the neighboring apartment open. Kasa lived next door. Nobody else lived on the floor of the nearly empty apartment building anyway. Clearly heard the door open and close. Kasa must have noticed that I came home and was coming over because he wanted to talk to me. I locked the door and shouted out to him. Is that you, Kasai? I'll leave the door unlocked for you. If it's not, I'm not Kasai Shion, said Mion. That voice. I twitched. Can I come in? Sure. Sis. Door opened slowly. My alter ego, Mion Sozaki, appeared. She was holding a box of cake, but smiling timidly. Are you going to keep standing there until I escort you? Come in. Sorry, this room doesn't look very cute. Looks comfortable. Sis looked a bit tense when entering my room. It was her first time here. How's life? My new school is as boring as I thought it would be. I usually go, but I skip classes when I don't feel up to it. I couldn't do that when I went to St. Lucia's. St. Lucia's was really tough, huh? You should go there sometime. Sorry. I bought cake. Let's eat. Mion opened the box. I saw 2 cheesecakes there. We had the same tasting food, so we don't have to fight if we get 2 of the same thing. Chatted with her over the cheesecake. Talked to her about school and whatnot. If you need furniture, tell me. I might be able to get some for you. Finally got used to this room, but I might move out soon, so furniture won't be necessary. Thanks though. Dad wants me to come back home. I don't want to live with him, but he sounds desperate. He'd be pleased if you came home. He looked lonely while you were gone. Can only say that because you don't have to live with him. Come to think of it, this was the first time I talked to my sis since I was allowed to live as Shion Sonozaki. She didn't look like how she was at the Sonozaki house that day. The successor of the Sonozaki family, my twin sister are 2 different people. The demon lives inside the leader of Sonozaki's. Our bodies are exactly the same, except for the tattoo of a demon on her back. Mion's destiny as the successor was set in stone when she got that tattoo. It was pretty simple. The Mion for the night was different from the Mion before me. When I was forced to tear off my fingers, I'd momentarily despised her. But if I were the next leader of the family, I'd have done the same. Well, I wouldn't have. I'm not a psycho. I'm sorry. That's too much of an simplification. Shion, how are your fingernails? The wounds have closed. I don't bandage them anymore because it looks too conspicuous. But my nails still look ugly, so I don't really like showing them to people. I sneered at her display of my incomplete fingernails. Mion grew quietly and looked down. You don't have to apologize. You did what you had to. You just played the role of successor. I'm not holding any grudges. I'm sorry. Okay. Apology accepted. But if you apologize one more time, then it'll be cancelled. I won't forgive you for the rest of my life. Alright, my cat wants to go out. One moment. Sorry about that. Huh? What do you mean? Once start apologizing, you never stop. So I'm cutting you off. Will you really forgive me? About Satoshi-kun as well? My heart ached when she mentioned his name. Felt just like the ache of an old wound. I figured you loved him. No wonder I shouted it out loud in front of all of you. I'm not embarrassed anymore. Haha. Granny truly believes you atoned. She thinks you've done all you needed to do. So the matter is finished. That's good. But pain won't go to waste then. I wonder where Satoshi-kun disappeared to though. I started choking when I heard her say that. I just said it to her myself. I'd forgotten her completely. Completely, but the promise instantly evaporated. Just because of what she said, it felt like I turned into a completely different person. What did you just say, Mion? Did you say I wonder where Satoshi-kun disappeared to? Who else could know other than you and your folks? I think that's a pretty clear indication of, I actually don't know either. What did you say? Where did he go? I felt my eyeballs reddening in anger. It felt as though they were about to pop. I choked on a burning sensation in my throat. Huh? Mion's expression rapidly changed. Looked like she noticed the devil's mask on my face. But we were one and the same. We could understand each other's thoughts without voicing them. So showing our expressions was like unveiling everything in our hearts to each other. Sorry. Even though I told her not to apologize anymore, Mion apologized. Felt like strangling her. It's going to make her confess where she'd hidden Satoshi-kun. If she told me she threw him in Fuji Swamp, I'd strangle her to death right then and there. We don't know what happened to Satoshi-kun. That's a lie. It's true. Granny doesn't know anything either. Please believe me. That's a lie. Are you saying those Shios curse demoned him away? There can't be a curse. There can't. Words kept coming out of my mouth, like I was chanting a spell. Wasn't speaking by my own will anymore. It was the demon who was controlling me. The demon that be sleeping inside me woke up and was speaking through my mouth. The demon's hands grabbed Mion by the neck. You guys demoned away, Satoshi. You and the Sozaki family. Give him back to me. Give him back! Hands slowly but surely squeezed Mion's neck. Mion put her hands on mine. I looked at her fingers. 3 of the fingernails on her left hand looked as ugly as mine. Mion, what's this? Tears rolled down her cheeks. She didn't have to answer. She had the same scars I did. She atoned as well. The way those wounds were healing looked the same as mine. So, did she get the wounds around the same time as I did? It was unfair that only you had to go through that. It felt so bad. Mion started sobbing. I stood there petrified, still wringing Mion's neck. Since I found out you loved Satoshi-kun, I really wanted you to be happy. Because it's always only you who has to suffer, even though we're twins. It didn't come to surprise to me that Mion might have also loved Satoshi-kun as I did. We always liked the same stuff, and even the same people. She was stupid enough to feel obligated towards someone like me. I told Granny to leave you and Satoshi-kun alone. I shouted at her. Then she said that she'd let you be if you atoned with sincerity. And you did. So you're supposed to live happily with him. But Satoshi-kun has gone away. That's terrible. Mion wasn't smart enough to shed crocodile tears. Those tears were real. The tears dissolved my demon anger like how the sun melts ice. Believe me, Shion. I really didn't know why Satoshi-kun disappeared. Neither Granny nor the Sozaki family have anything to do with it. Granny forgave you. She would never do anything to him. Mion, I'm sorry. Did I hurt you? I took my hands off the neck and held her instead. Okay, so I'd just like to comment this while it's still in a fart. Shion, again. I get it. Emotions are running high. But strangling? Also? You really have tunnel vision. When you believe something, you really tunnel vision. When it was for Satoshi, it was the same. When you were here, it was the same. You really do not consider the details after a while, do you? As for Mion, this is weird, but the longer I watch this, the more Mion and Shion seem switched in how they are in what's it called? Watanagashi. At least to me it feels like Mion would easily do what Shion would easily do what Mion did in Watanagashi, and the opposite as well. Of course, it could be that Mion's just a fucking S-tier freaking actress and even has Shion tricked, but who knows. Took my hands off her neck and held her instead. Tick, I'm not hurt. You've been hurt a lot more than me, haven't you? Tick. I shot at the demon in my mind. I believed in Mion. I had been convinced it was the Sonzaki family that made Satoshi-kun disappear, but Mion denied it, while shedding tears. Between her and me, her tears are more convincing than any word, so I'd believe in her. It absolutely wasn't the Sonzaki family that made him disappear. So do you really think that Satoshi-kun disappeared because of Yoshio-sama's curse? I don't believe in curses, and Mion didn't do it either. It wasn't the curse or the Sonzaki family who demoned him away. I don't know. I just know it's not Mion. It's not the Sonzaki family because Mion says so. That's stupid, Shion. Are you going to ignore Satoshi-kun's voice? I know. You don't have to remind me, demon. I can hear his voice. I know he's mumbling with an ambivalent expression like he always used to do, even though he knows help won't come. I'll help him no matter what. Save him if he's alive. I'll avenge him if he's dead. But Mion didn't do it. You just want to take it out on somebody. It doesn't matter who. But I'm Shion, not a demon. You're only a part of me. Don't try to take control. Fuck off. Don't ever show up again. The demon faded away. The body went limp and fell to the floor while holding Mion. The talks of inner demon and stuff like that also sounds like Mion from chapter 2, but yeah, well. Shion, are you alright? I'm alright now, Mion. Why are you two different individuals? Why can't we just be one? Stop it. We asked ourselves that so many times, but there is no answer. I'm Shion and you Mion. That's just how it is. I don't care if I'm Mion or Shion. I just want to be the one and equal with you. There is nothing we can do. You have the demon on your back. You're destined to become the successor, and we can't change that. I don't want that. I don't need a demon. I don't want it. I'm not a demon. I'm not. I want to be a human like you. Mion is a demon and Shion is a human. Even though we're twins, there's a difference between us. Was it impossible for humans to live with demons after all? It should be possible, because they did it before. That's the legend of Hinamizawa. Humans and demons lived in harmony together. And Oshio-sama watched over them. Mion. Shion, Satoshi-kun, demons, humans, Oshio-sama's curse, the series of mysterious deaths, Satoshi-kun disappearance. We fell asleep while holding each other, while holding everything. Higurashi, when they cry. Hi. Is that the chapter end? It is. 3 notebook pages. Let's read them. Notebook page 50. I saw Miyu Takano's a few times after that. At her core, she was fascinated with the bizarre, and she had an insatiable curiosity that was just as strong. I have to remind myself not to take her story too seriously. Otherwise, I might start believing that Satoshi-kun disappeared because of the curse. She talks about the dark history of Hinizawa a lot. It's all very interesting. Her theories are based on nothing but conjecture, but some of her intuition covers facts that only members of Sonozaki family would know. I think that Oshio-sama's curse is the continuation of those ancient rituals. In other words, she believes that the curse is performed by religious fanatics. According to her theory, a religious cult once existed in Himizawa, and the three families stem from it. She believes that they are operating behind the scenes in order to revive the dignity of the Onigafuchi people, which was lost during the Meiji era. Miyosan's theories are far-reaching, and looking at them on a larger scale, they end up making a lot of sense. But they can't offer any explanation for Satoshi Kon's disappearance when using them on a smaller scale. Her theories are just too broad. Note page 64. I exchange information with Oishi every now and then. We each expect new leads from each other, but neither of us had any luck. Bleh. I no longer believe that the tip that Stoshikun might have headed to Tokyo was clearly bogus anyway. Although I can befriend Oishi, he's been fair about the deal. He alone has been serious about uncovering any new information. Oishi's sources are quite reliable, so whenever I found some dubious tip, I'd check with him to see if it's valid. My meetings with him have diminished in frequency, and he's been assigned to new cases. Eventually, we stopped meeting entirely. Oishi stopped investigating, and I reached the limits of my sources of information. People now think that Toshikan's disappearance was a supernatural phenomenon called demoning away. In Himizawa, they refer to his disappearance as him having transferred, and nobody will talk about it otherwise. I don't like the way that phrase is used to erase him. During the upheaval surrounding Oshiyasama's curse in 1982, I was pulled this way and that by the new leads on Satoshi Kon's disappearance. Every time I found information that looked promising, I kept changing my theories. But that also became an incredible burden on me. It wore me down plenty of its own. The fatigue was harsh, but it also provided a very kind acceptance. Bit by bit, it soothed away the anger, sadness, and doubt that wore me down. I'll never forget Satoshi-kun. I'll never try to forget him and move on. I constantly repeated those to myself in my head. Repeated them to keep my memories of Satoshi-kun from fading too, over and over. For the sake of my fond memories of Satoshi-kun, together with my fear and my sadness, I repeated them forever and ever. I just had an interesting idea. What if each of the 4 episodes here are actually prequels slash another character viewpoints for each of the previous chapters? Like, what if this is actually a prequel specifically to Watanagashi? And now in the next few episodes, we're gonna be getting straight into that from Shion's perspective. And then episode 6, I don't know, maybe it's to what's it called? To wow, I'm drawing a blank. Was the first one on Gafuchi? It was on O, but I do not remember what it's called. It's definitely not on Gafuchi. I mean, that's the name of the swamp. It could be the same, like Watanagashi is the same as the festival, but I'm pretty sure it isn't. What? I have a bit of a cheat here. Oh, wrong one. Not gonna work. Ah, well. Let's just go. Save. Go. I love that it's light and fleeting, like a soap bubble. If it seeks the sky, it will break and vanish before long. The girl's thoughts weren't granted. The tears that were shed changed the world of blood and yearned for sacrifice. The sadness that pierced her transformed into rage, and ultimately the murderous intent. Everything was absorbed in pure black, and the darkness continued to spread, in the end, even to herself. Meakashi. Would it be better if I hadn't been born? The blood-stained hand couldn't even grasp the air. AD 1983. The fourth year of the series of mysterious deaths in Misawa, also known as Oshiro's curse, 1 year after Satoshi Hojo's disappearance. I hadn't been able to get used to my new school in Okunomiya, but I had some friends there now. Since I got a part-time job on my relative's store, I had some extra pocket money too. I ended up living with my parents after all, so I didn't have to pay for my living expenses. It felt great to get to freely spend the money I earned from working. I still used the room Casa set up for me from time to time. It was a convenient hideout for when I didn't want to see my parents. In fact, I was planning to spend a day there today. Damn, that teacher. She told my parents that I was skipping classes. My dad got upset and that was why I didn't want to stay at home. I had been asking for it though. My teacher should know my dad is Yakuza, and that he gets really scary when he's mad. On the whole, my life has been going well so far, except that it was boring. The reason I could enjoy the lifestyle is probably because I had to live in secret before. It was a great relief to be able to live without having to fake my identity. Well, that might be a valuable experience. I think I learned from it. I was going grocery shopping and thought I'd get enough food for a week or so. My parents would appreciate my presence more after missing me for a week. I was doing this for their sakes, sure. Oh wait, isn't there a 100 yen sale today? Yeah, there is. I knew how to save my pocket money. I was in a good mood. I spun around, my arms spread out. Felt like I was inside a little whirlwind. My arms hit a motorcycle parked on the sidewalk. It obviously wasn't where it was supposed to be. Ow! What the? Who parked the motorcycle here? I gave the motorcycle a kick with no hesitation. There were 3 motorcycles lined up in a row. They all fell like dominoes. It was beautiful and so much fun. Oh? That was odd. Felt like I'd gone through the exact same experience before. While blinking my eyes in an effort to recall when that was, some people grabbed me from the neck and dragged me into the dark alley. It looked like the punks were the owners of the motorcycles. They started shouting at me. This was really strange. I was having deja vu. Deja vu. The fuck are you, bitch? What you think you're doing, huh? Fucking boss your head in, bitch. Yeah, I'm gonna pay for what you did. That's right. It was when I met Satoshi-kun for the first time. He came to save me. If I pretended to cry again, would he come to save me again? Made a wish. I started pretending to cry and beg for mercy. At that time, I'd out of my ears. Cut it out! Can't you see she's crying? There's a boy about my age. Couldn't quite see his face because of the light illuminating him from behind. Satoshi-kun? Of course it couldn't be him. It couldn't be. He's got a sprite! Oh, how they grow. I'm so proud of you. Also, what is this magical alleyway that summons your Prince Charming, I guess? The magical alleyway of get dragged there by 3 thugs and cry, and it summons your perfect love interest. When I snapped out of my daydream, I realized that it wasn't Satoshi-kun after all. He looked less gracious than Satoshi-kun, so to speak. If Satoshi-kun was pristine and untouched, this guy would have scratches all over him. But although they were completely different, I got a similar impression of him somehow. What the hell? What the fuck? Who the fuck are you? You wanna get hurt? What? Or can say something. Son of a bitchin'. The boy looked a bit taken aback. Ah, well, I just thought you might want to let her go because she's crying, so... Ah? Oh, fuck, you think you're telling us what to do? Whoa, hold on. I'm against violence. What is with this guy? I felt ashamed that I'd mistaken him for Toshikun, even for a second. He seemed cool at first. He wasn't as cool as Toshikun after all. Well, I mean, so did your motorcycle were knocked down. But I hope you don't feel too bad about it. How could I make you feel better? Of course, we don't have any money on us, you know? If you don't got the money, then... If you got your money, you gotta pay with your body. This chicken's got some real nice boobies. Let's strip her down. Hey, are you kidding me? Tightening my grip on the stun gun in my pocket. Then I turned it up to the maximum intensity. Don't hold a grudge against me if I die, pervs. I love it when girls get stripped in those porn videos. Yeah, the stripping is better than the actual sex. They indulge in their imaginations, which arouse their spirits. Hey now, why are you pervs closing in on me? Yeah, gross hands are groping the air. Are you gonna try and violate me? Stripping's awesome. Strip her. Yeah. Let's strip her from the top to the bottom. Socks off, she'll be naked as the jaybird. Hey, are you out of your mind? Don't touch me with those filthy hands. Then a flash of light cut through the air. Was that the boy? Right now. No. The stupid fox! Blows like thunderbolts. Knock the punks down. Wow, he was actually strong after all? What the hell? You want something? Huh? You don't have a clue. Idiots! Oh no, he's about to go pervert. What the fuck are you on about? There's nothing about arousing about stark nakedness. Leave his socks on at least. No matter what. That's the ironclad loo. Listen up, monkeys. What's the difference between Homo sapiens and other animals? That's right. Humans wear clothes. Human beings without clothes are just animals. If you get aroused only when the girl is completely naked, you're less than human. You might as well be animals. I'm going to knock some sense into you. Pledge those teeth. Ah! 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 You mentioned a porn movie, didn't you? Let's say there's a cosplay sex video. The definition of cosplay is too broad. To lecture on the subject is difficult at explaining the spirit of Yamato, the Yankees parachuting down from B-29-ness. So I'll limit the scope of the most popular ones, school uniforms. What are the three most prominent divisions in the larger category of school uniforms? Answer me! That's right, regular uniforms, gym uniform, and school swimsuits. Both the sail style and the blazing style are included under regular uniforms, by the way. Gym shorts and bloomers are likewise. The color preference between white and navy school swimsuit is the same. Well, does that sound exciting already? Let's say each of you have a preference for one of those three divisions. Hey you, Dinko A, you take the regular uniform. Dinko B, you take the gym uniform. And Dinko C, you take the school swimsuit. Picture the image in your head. For 3 seconds. Are you done? That's not good enough. Do it again. Let's say a porn video of your favorite cosplay. Use imagination. Come on. Say yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir. When you got it. I really recommend you, maggots. Good. All seems to image in your head now. Let's move on. Imagine your favorite cosplay is stripped eternally naked because of your stupid desire. Now think. If you take all the clothes off, that's not cosplay anymore, is it? That sort of video is rampant lately. It's just lamentable. Humans without clothes aren't civilized, they're animals. If only naked girls excite you, you're a pack of dogs, monkeys, and pheasants. Pack your bags and get out. Wait, get back here! As you know, a huge amount of Russian porn vids are going around lately, thanks to the end of the Cold War. You don't know that? Get out of here! I heard of the style called Beautiful Russian Schoolgirl, which is a combination of Japanese uniform fetish and some Russian thing. It's emerging, but it's never accept that. So uniforms are part of Japanese culture and art. Those stupid barbarians will never understand this Japanese spirit. Are you all listening? You pathetic squid! Clench your teeth and train you till a drop. I won't let you sleep until you are capable of perfecting your imagination skills. Here comes my whip! At that point, I heard a bustle of people running this way. This just did more for Keiichi's character than all the first 4 chapters. Okay, that's not fully true, but... Good job, Keiichi. This is not good for you, but... This is not good for you as a reputable person, but as a character, you know what? Good for you. Maibara-san! I gathered some old people. Saw several kids running towards us. Seemed like our backup has arrived. Ah, shit. Let's get us out of here. The 3 punks had just been standing there agape, but they started running away with the sound of many people. You're awesome, Maibara-san. You had those punks transfixed all by yourself. One of them even had a nosebleed. You're so strong, Maibara-san. Ooh, seems my personal aura has grown more powerful. If this keeps up, I'll surpass even coaches made in heaven reality marvel. Anyway, are you alright, Mion? The boy was apparently called Maibara. He turned around to face me. In the way he mistook me for Mion sounded like Satoshi-kun. But Satoshi-kun is a pervert like him. I was anxious to see how you'd fight back, but guess 3 guys were too many, huh? Won't believe it. I was still confused. I couldn't yet grasp the situation. Who was this guy? Mion was friends with him? I was still spacing out in shock, so I forget to move, till his hand touched my head. Well, you know, I'll forget that I saw you cry you, so cheer up, okay? Rub. The boy called my brother and stroked my head roughly. Didn't feel good. Hurt, actually. But still, his hand had the same warmth. Later on, Mion told me about him. It's called Keiichi Maibara. Kei-chan for short. He's one grade below us. Not only that, but he just moved to Hinamizawa. Thanks to his attitude and lack of manners, he'd already become an idol in their class. Mion joyously explained all this. Sure, he sounded like a fun kid. I knew why Mion was into him, but Satoshi-kun is way cooler. He wasn't worth stealing from Sis. Or was he? Sis! Anyway, interesting how actually this ended up being a reverse of Watanagashi. With... what's it called? With Keiichi saving Shion. My heart throbbed. I was excited. Felt like I'd gotten a new toy. I was curious as to what kind of relationship Mion intended to build with him. I'd love to tease her about it. Thanks, Kei-chan. Let me buy you a drink. My uncle's restaurant is just nearby, so why don't we get there? Satoshi-kun would refuse out of modesty. But Keiichi Maibara said okay within 2 seconds. Well then, I couldn't wait to tease the 2 of them. Boring life suddenly became bright again. Oh hey, don't cling to my arm. Oh, don't you like it? Oh, I don't hate it, but it's just your breasts that are touching me and my breasts bother you? Keiichi Maibara was fun. Mion fought the same way I did. She would always talk about him. I was happy for her, it made me smile. I guess Kei-chan is really your favorite. Sis? What's the most interesting thing about him? Hahaha, let's see. To put it plainly, he's just funny. For example, just a couple of days ago in the club, Mion really liked him, but didn't seem to think it was love yet. She's reserved in that area, so that was really like her. As for me, well, I didn't hate him, but my feelings weren't the same as Mion's. Kei-chan was just too childish to compare to Satoshi-kun. Wondered how Satoshi-kun was doing. Was he waiting for things to cool down somewhere far away? The case had already been solved though. The dope head was the murderer. There was no reason for him to wait anymore. I shook my head. I shouldn't think about it too much. Oh wait, I know. The case was confidential, so the arrest of the culprit hadn't been made public. So Satoshi-kun hadn't realized that he could come back. No, he was a little thick-headed. Maybe he'd been waiting for things to calm down until the end of time. But if so, couldn't he give a call to Stoko at least? He could tell her that he's living in a faraway place, but that he'd be coming home soon. Ah, that stupid Satoko. She'd been living with Rika Furuda since Toshikun went away. Nope, so nobody would pick up the phone even if he called. Stupid girl. Didn't you want your big brother to come home? Given Satoshikun's personality, he wouldn't remember any phone numbers other than his home number, so he wouldn't be able to contact anybody in Shinomizawa. Maybe he's been calling Stoko every night. It keeps ringing, but nobody picks up. Then he'd assume Satoko might be taking a bath or be in a restroom. He'd put on the puzzled smile while mumbling, like always. I muted his voice without realizing it. After that, what? Huh? What's up? Didn't you say something, Shion? I laughed it off and urged Mion to continue. I realized that her tone had changed. I hadn't been listening to her because I was thinking about Stoshikun. I thought she was still happily talking about Kei-chan. But Mion-san suddenly grim. Faint smile looked pitiful. It was too late to ask what was going on. Instead, I concentrated on her story instead. After that, the uncle gave everybody a doll as a thank you gift. Everybody except for me. Okay? Except for you. I wanted one too, but I couldn't say it in front of everybody. You still can express your needs, huh? And then? Mion sniffled. Realized that she was on the verge of tears. Yukuta's doll was in Kei-chan's bag, and you wanted that doll. I didn't matter which one, but although Kei-chan knew only I didn't get one, he didn't give it to me. He said the doll wouldn't fit me and that I should be born as a boy in my next life. That's what he said. That was Kei-chan's weak point. He might be fun and popular, but he wasn't mature. Not like Stoshikun. I want to start all over. I want to go back when I just met him and start all over. I want to treat him like a girl from the beginning. Don't take it too seriously. It'll be okay because it's just you who wants to start over while he didn't even notice anything wrong. It'd be harder if you guys fought over it or something. Can I start over? Didn't you cry in front of him? It's not too late. You can cry as much as you want now. If you show him a different side of you from tomorrow, you can still fix it. Okay, may sound insensitive here, but part of this is just the impression you've given him so far. If you change your attitude from tomorrow on, you can still change his mind. How do I change my attitude? How? If I tell you to act cute, you'll start going to school in frilly clothes. So don't think it, just be natural. But without overdoing it, pay attention to how you behave around him. And don't forget to be cautious of Rena. She's a bit of an airhead. A bit ahead of you so far. Kei-chan might prefer Rena at this point. Oh, it's true. Rena's really girly. She's cute and caring. That just means you can't slack off for even a moment, sis. Because you've got a rival. Tears can attract men, but don't anchor them. You should always be smiling, but cry when it really counts. That's how you typically do it. Maybe I should try that on Kei-chan myself. No, don't. He's the boy you like. So I guess it's natural that I like him too. How can I attract him? Hey sis, why don't we have a competition over him? No, never. I'll kick you into orbit if you come near Himizawa. I'm happy for you, sis. It's not too late at all. It's important to know the distance between the boy you love and yourself, and shift the way you appeal to him to compensate. The boy I love is missing, you know? I don't know where he is, when he's coming back. Compared to you, you're very lucky. Mion was saying she'd do her best from tomorrow on with red tearful eyes. I sensed a deeply negative feeling emerging inside me. Nobody was blaming Mion for being happy with Keiichi. I wasn't envious. Wasn't jealous. Didn't want her to be blamed the same way I was blamed. It was just that there was no space for Satoshi-kun in Mion's mind anymore. Filled as it is with Kei-chan and her other friends now. It didn't matter to her if Satoshi came back. Or not. Just like how she didn't care if it was sunny or rainy tomorrow. What about me then? Had I been thinking about Satoshi-kun all the time for the past year? I wasn't proud of my own answer. I'd become used to life without Satoshi-kun. His absence didn't hurt me anymore. I was getting used to life with Keiichi Maebara. And if I let my guard down, he might just fill up the space I've been saving for Satoshi-kun. If Shion Sonozaki had prayed harder for Satoshi-kun to return, he might have come home already. Where did Satoshi-kun go? Last year, right after his disappearances, I paid close attention to the information circulating in the Sonozaki family, its underground connections. And I frequently went to the police station to check with Oishi for new information. Even with all that, I couldn't get any new leads on his whereabouts. Eventually, he became interested in Oshio-sama's curse, which surrounded Satoshi-kun's disappearance. I researched the dark history of the village. The more people looked into it, the less likely his survival seemed. Returned Mio-san's scrapbook to her, and then I hadn't gone to the library since. I started a new life in new school. I made new friends, and in the same way as fallen leaves cover the ground, I felt like I was losing sight of what was really important to me. It was already almost the end of spring. They said that summer was coming early, and I'd be very hot this year. Normally, it'd be rainy season now, but we'd had no rain at all. The Watanagashi festival was right around the corner. Almost been a year since Satoshi-kun went missing. In Mizawa, they don't allow you to talk openly about Oshio-sama's curse, the series of mysterious deaths. So everybody acts like the murder of Satoshi-kun's aunt never happened. That's because Satoshi Kojo was a member of the family of traders. He fell victim to Oshio-sama's curse on the 4th year running. He was demoned away. Everybody was trying to forget about his existence and erase the memories of him. Don't make him disappear because of the curse. Don't erase his existence. Satoshi-kun was living in Himizawa just a year ago. He went to school. He was an A student. He was a member of Himizawa Fighters. He never hit the ball where it really mattered. He was unreliable but pure. He was warm. Because of the curse, people made him disappear. They stopped mentioning his name and acted like he never existed. A new resident like Keiichi Maebara wouldn't even know him. He seriously believed that Satoshi-kun had transferred out. Correct? I miss you, Satoshi-kun. I want to go shopping with you again. I want to be in a baseball game with you again and get cold drinks afterwards. I want to tease you and I want you to stroke my head again. Your hand was so warm. Felt as if my whole body was being caressed. Satoshi-kun. I haven't opened this notebook in a while. My feelings have been written down for over 150 pages. This notebook is key to my heart. The other me who's been sleeping since last year is slowly waking up. Notebook page 150. I'm quite amazed by your dirty deeds, Keiichi-kun. He's a boy after all. Me-chan, she-chan, Keiichi-kun looks confused. How? Did you hear that, sis? We're not playing tug-of-war here. Are you trying to tear Keiichi-kun apart? I'm not playing tug-of-war. You're the one who started stretching him. Go back to Okonomiya, Shion. Okay, I will. Whoops. I let go of Keiichi suddenly, and so he and Sis flew off as a rubber band. Keiichi wandered the ground while Sis was stuck in a bush headfirst. What lively people. See you, Kei-chan. Sis might assault me if I stick around any longer, so I'll get going. Shion. Thanks for today. Forget it. I didn't do much. See you, Shion. His hand landed on my head. Rub, rub, rub. He stroked my head pretty roughly, but the warmth reminded me. Excuse me, I'm going. Sis. Don't ever come here again. Rena, keep your eyes out on her. Tanako, set traps. Meika-chan, purify this area with salt. The warmth remained on the top of my head. It felt ticklish and sore. I had to stop. I got off my moped and pushed the aching spot against a telephone pole. I'm sorry, Satoshi-kun. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Never forget about you. I still remember you. I'm worthless without you. I can't stand life without you, and because it's gray and cold and boring. It's true, it's true. Never smile because you aren't here. I can't. See you, Shion. Keiichi's face appeared in my mind. Called the touch of the hand stroking my head. It wasn't warm. It wasn't happy. It was rough and painful. I hate the insensitive guy. He's too childish, crude, and cold. He's like a straight dog. I wasn't happy, it wasn't warm. Wasn't happy or overjoyed at all. No, Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun mumbled. He didn't know what to say to in a situation like this. I don't know either. But he knew that he had better say something. He wanted to say something, but he didn't know what to say. He just mumbled. I'm sorry, Shion. Why are you apologizing, Satoshi-kun? I'm the one who should apologize. Even though I'd say I'd wait for you, even though I believed my heart wouldn't change. My heart is full of holes. You're leaking out from the small cracks in my heart little by little. You're leaking out from me. Are you suffering because I'm here? Why? You're so precious to me. So, don't say that. I've been here with you all this time. But, I think I'm hurting you by continuing to exist. Don't want that. That's not true, no, no, no. Where have you been, Satoshi-kun? You weren't with me. Tell me where you are. What's the address? What's the postal code? What's the name of the city? What's the name of the street number? Tell me. There isn't an address. Ha 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 ha. I knew it. Telling me you've always been with me, always by my side, that's such a cliche. Ha 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 ha. What do you prefer, Shion? If I can give you strength, I'll stay by your side forever. But if you're suffering because of me, I'll disappear right away. Don't say that. I want to be with you always. I want to be with you forever. Okay, stay with you then. Car passed by. The noise snapped me out of my reverie. The sky was turning orange. I should get home before it gets cold. Should go home to Okonomiya. You're with me, right? Are you with me right now, Satoshi-kun? Walked back to my moped. My feet sank into the grass. Crunch, crunch. Stopped when I reached my bike. But then I heard an extra footstep. I gasped. I feel somebody else's presence. I'm not stupid. Nobody else was around here. Nobody had suddenly appeared behind me. So I wasn't surprised to find nobody when I turned around. But he was definitely still there. Satoshi-kun. I couldn't see him, but he was there. Okay, Shion is seriously going psycho. But also interesting that the same hearing steps thing is happening to her. He was there for me. Satoshi-kun never lies. He said he'd be with me all the time. I'd just been too insensitive to feel his existence until now. Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun. Breeze tickled my hair. Felt cold, but warm. Nope, to me it was nothing but the warmth of his hand. It took a while to notice that my cheeks were wet with tears. Higurashi, when they cry. Kai? I'm asking this like it was a question. What? Kai? I was too scared to sleep. If I wanted to sleep, I might not find Satoshi-kun there in the morning. So I kept talking to him until I passed out. I told him about what happened while he was missing. Told him that I realized how much I loved him after he went away. I'd searched for him, looking into various things. I'd gathered underground information through Kasai and bargained for police information with Oishi, but I couldn't find any leads. A long time passed, but I kept thinking about him. Etc., etc. I told him all the small details from my daily life. The places I wanted to go with him, and the things I wanted to do with him. The food I wanted to share with him. And I told him a lot of things. I was sitting up at first. I got tired, so I lay down. But tired of moving my mouth too, so I started talking to him in my mind. It was the happiest night I've ever had. Yeah, that's certainly an indication of something not being mentally right. When I woke up, I didn't feel Satoshi-kun by my side. I knew it somehow. I was afraid of it. That's why I didn't want to go to sleep. But at least I got to see him for one night. Just then, I resigned myself to that. Felt Satoshi-kun's presence again. It was a dream after all. Thank God. And so I began my strange life with Satoshi-kun. As promised, Satoshi-kun was always by my side. I couldn't laugh, mumble, or stroke my head. But he was always with me. Always right by my side. He disappeared sometime, but he didn't come back when I looked for him. It seemed that all I could hear was his footsteps. That's just the way it was. It was a bit sad, but I was still satisfied. His presence was really faint. It was hard to sense in a crowd. But he never left me. If he was tangible, I'd be taking his hand all the time so that he wouldn't be lost. In contrast, I could feel him very strongly in a quiet environment. Of course, I couldn't tell what his expressions were, because he was just a presence. But after I got used to it, I could tell what he was thinking. At first, I could only tell if he was laughing or not. Eventually, I started to feel his emotions more strongly. I could communicate with him normally. I was usually alone with him, though. I don't want to go to school or hang out with my friends anymore. But Satoshi-kun got upset about that. He'd kept on mumbling unhappily. Now that I knew he'd always be with me, I shouldn't just stay home all the time. I was sticking to my time alone with him, however, because I was scared that he might suddenly disappear again. I wanted to make the most out of the time I was sharing with him right now. I must have been worrying too excessively. Satoshi-kun will always be by my side. Yeah. That was his promise. He'd never break his promises. It was fine because he was there. Of course, I couldn't tell anybody about him, not even Sis. Try explaining it to them, but they would never understand. Understandably. But I was certain that he was with me. So, it'd be alright. I never get fed up with life with him. He's really cute, you know. We always walk together. But when I stop, he always walks one extra step. That's so adorable. I love it. Kyo-san, what are you going to do? I guess I'll have some fun at the festival. Maybe I'll tease Sis and her friends. I wanted to go to the festival with Satoshi-kun. I knew he liked to see me having fun with everybody. He might get jealous if I play with Kei-chan, but Satoshi-kun isn't very sensitive in that way. Satoshi-kun loved to see me and my friends have fun, so I should have a lot of fun for his sake. Then I'll talk about the day with him later. How are you going to Himizawa? I can give you a ride if you want. I'm taking my moped, so you don't have to. That won't do. Aren't you going to the family party afterwards? I can't let you drive under the influence. He won't let me drive, but he's kind enough to let me drink. Alright, take me then. Good. Let's leave before nightfall. I'll come pick you up around that time. After Kasa left, I sensed that Satoshi-kun was excited about going to the festival. Watanagashi, huh? So, it's almost been a full year since you went away. Satoshi-kun seemed confused. I'll bet you're going right now, right? Aren't you? We laughed together. Welcome. Here's your net and bowl. Great. Wow, these fish are so active. They look delicious. I could eat that little one raw right now. Here. Ah? What are you saying, Mion-san? Okay, this is very similar to Watanagashi again. I wonder if we'll have the scene in the shed. Mi-chan, you eat goldfish? Did you eat the one I gave you last year too? No, I didn't say that. Sis shook her head and turned all red. But you just said it. You said they look delicious. I heard it too. She eats everything, as long as it fits inside her mouth. If it's really true, I'll give it a try once. No, you can't, Rika-chan. You're gonna get sick. Wait a minute. Hey, you. How long have you been here, Shion? Hi, Kei-chan, sis, and anyone else? Good evening. Yeah! When did you get here, Shion? I've been here since you were at the chow mein booth. Why don't you guys quickly, since you were making so much noise? Hey, you're not in our club. Get lost. Don't be mean, sis. Right, Kei-chan? You're fine if I come with you guys, right? I took Kei-chan's arm and held it between my breasts. Puff, puff. We're going to have a ball. she just got done in by Rena. Went around the booths with Sis and her friends. I joked around and laughed out loud. I teased Kei-chan and Sis too. Kei-chan was at the center of the group, so if I did something to him, it naturally involved everybody else. Looked like Satoshi-kun was having a hard time finding his spot in the crowd. When I glanced at him in a quiet moment, he smiled and told me to have fun without worrying about him. If he were tangible, I'd pull his arm to join the crowd. It made me sad that I couldn't do that. Bumped into somebody's shoulder. Obviously my fault, so apologized right away. Turned out it was somebody I knew. Oh, looks like you're having fun. Good evening, Shion-chan. The moon looks beautiful tonight, doesn't it? Oh, it's been forever, Takano-san. And you were? Nice to meet you. I'm Tomitake. I heard you were Mion-chan's twin sister. Nice to meet you too, Tomitake-san. I heard you were a great cameraman. Please take a picture of me someday. I'm just an amateur dreaming of going professional. Well, you're actually great. Jiro-san? You're good at so many things. No, I need to study more. Oh, there goes a bot. I have no talent, so I have to put in a lot of effort to compensate. They must have been in a relationship. You two look happy together. Am I interrupting you? Ah, no. Appreciate your consideration, but you are not interrupting us at all. And you can call me Mio like before. No, Takano-san. It's a bit hard for me to call someone older than me by their first name. Well, never mind. I smiled bashfully, and Takano-san smiled back elegantly. Haven't seen you in the library since. I wanted to talk to you more as a fellow researcher. Well, when I feel like it. Oh, researcher? Very interested too, Shion-chan. I mean, the legend of this village. Noritake-san raised his eyebrow. As far as I knew, Takano-san's hobby wasn't exactly normal. On the surface, her research dealt with the cultural history of ancient Hinamizawa, which main focus was on the Watanagashi festival from ancient times, the cannibal banquet in which they captured and gathered a living sacrifice. Her research covered various stories surrounding that, and other legends of cruelty. It was nothing if not gory. That was where her main interest lay, so I don't feel comfortable being called a fellow researcher, to be honest. But objectively speaking, her research notes were fun to read. It was then that I heard the loud booms of the taiko drums. The main event of the Watanagashi Festival, the dedication dance, was about to start. According to Takano-san's hypothesis, the part of the dance, the shrine made in tears, go for a futo mat representing gutting a living victim. It's starting. I should head over. Aren't you guys coming to see Rikachama's performance? Hahaha. Taka-san seemed bewildered. Did he mean he wasn't coming? Taka-san giggled and whispered in my ear. Tell you the truth, we're thinking of sneaking into the ritual storehouse. Eh? She made it sound like she was going to do something fun, but wouldn't be amusing to anybody who knew the ritual storehouse was. The ritual storehouse, or the storehouse for ritual implements, is a sort of treasure house belonging to the Furuda shrine. I heard the Orochiya-sama sacred treasure was stored in there. Only people from the Furuda family and selected members of the two other families are allowed to enter. They believe that if other people enter, this place will be desecrated. Everybody in Hinamizawa must have been curious about what was in there when they were kids. But the storehouse was tightly locked. You couldn't just peek into either. Kids would get chided if they played around it, so they'd learn to stay away. I don't like being around it myself, since I was familiar with all that. Even though I didn't believe in curses, I still want to be near it. Nothing good could come from breaking the rules. Were they still going to enter the ritual storehouse despite all that? I'm pretty sure it's tightly locked. It was until last year. Rika-chan had the hefty bolt changed to a cheap padlock, because the bolt was too heavy for her to lift. Did you know that? No, but even if it's cheap, it's still locked, isn't it? Jiro-san is very skilled. Oh, are you good at lockpicking? Once the Watangashi ritual starts, everybody will gather around the stage, right? Then the area around the storehouse will be completely devoid of people. Tonight, this place will be a blind spot. Can't see the forest for the trees, I suppose. According to her hypothesis, the ancient tools used for human dissection, torture would be found in the ritual storehouse. Why don't you join us a bit? It's now or never. So, maybe I'll see you then. Takano-san, why are you telling her? Just girl talk. Let's go to some dark place for a quick date. Ah? Takano-san walked against the flow of the crowd alongside Tomitake-san. The ritual storehouse, huh? Was supposed to be filled with torture tools. Considering what they had in the underground torture room at the Sonozaki house, that's quite possible. Oh, one moment. Sorry about that. Toshikun fell victim to the curse in the 4th year. His aunt's death was the sign of Orochiya-sama's curse. Toshikun was the sacrifice to pacify Orochiya-sama's anger. That was what Takano-san said last year. It was just her hypothesis. At present, I want to deny her hypothesis because I want to believe that Toshikun was still alive. If her hypothesis was correct, either some religious fanatic or somebody from the three families must be imitating the curse in order to revive the ancient custom of Onigafuchi. That would mean that it was them who killed Satoshi-kun. So what if? What if the ritual storehouse was filled with garbage instead of torture implements? Maybe it was filled with broken palanquins or freshly painted signboards for the festival. What then? It wasn't really hard for me to believe. It was filled with the chemical smell of paint. Maybe I'll get to deny the hypothesis that Satoshi-kun was sacrificed by seeing the inside of the ritual storehouse for myself. Whatever was in there, it didn't mean that Satoshi-kun would come back. Satoshi-kun. What should I do? Since most people went to see Rika-chama's ritual dance, the festival grounds were quite deadly quiet. Even so, I couldn't sense Satoshi-kun. Did he go somewhere, or was I not paying attention? Or maybe he wasn't feeling any emotion in particular. After thinking for a while, I decided to go with them. It had been almost a year since Satoshi-kun's disappearance. I'd been avoiding the truth because I was afraid he might be dead. But now I had a chance. I had a chance to see the inside of the ritual storehouse. I felt as though some divine had arranged this coincidence. On my way to the storehouse, I noticed Keiichi was jumping up and down, trying to see Rika-chama's dedication dance over people's shoulders. I took him along. He could split the guilt. Oshio-sama might put a curse on me for entering his divine storehouse. I wanted a partner in crime. Since the boy I loved disappeared last year because of the curse, maybe Mion's love should disappear this year. Whoa, what was I thinking? That must have been the demon inside me. I shook the thought out of my head. What's going on, Shion? Where's the best place to see Rika-chan's dance from? Rika-chan's dance from? Is it here? Huh? I never said I was going to show you that. We made it to the ritual storehouse. Keiichi was baffled with the whole situation. Our timing had been perfect. See Tomitake-san picking the lock. Even though Keiichi-san must have been curious, he insisted that we shouldn't go in. But I talked him into it anyway. He was quick to change his mind when Tomitake-san joined in. It was completely dark inside, so Takano-san lit a battery-powered candle. A small entry space appeared before us. So dark in here. Tomitake-san's with us in here this time. Take care not to trip over anything. I appreciate the concern. Okay, doorman, keep a good watch. Okay, he is a watchman after all. We're shutting the door now. Takano-san closed the door with a smile as if leaving Tomitake-san out on purpose. Man, alright, everyone have fun. As soon as the heavy door was closed, we were surrounded by a quiet darkness. All we could rely on was Takano-san's lantern. Be fine. An outdoor lantern with a backup battery inside. It won't go out or anything. Takano-san teased Keiichi-san a little. Keiichi in turn looked a little pale. He seemed to be able to recognize the sanctity of the building even though he wasn't from Hinazawa. Let's go in. Here we go. After Takano had opened the heavy inner door, a dusty foul smell flowed out. It was like the smell of a pantry that hadn't been opened in years. The smell of a fish market mixed together. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it was a bad smell. From listening to the echoes of footsteps, I could tell that the room was much bigger than the one we were just in. When Takano-san raised the lantern, I could clearly see just how big it was. Wow. At the far side of the wall, there was a statue of some kind of god staring down at the intruders. The way it was lit by the lantern gave it a powerful appearance, and it scared me. Oh, that's the guardian god of Himizawa, or Yoshio-sama. Looked up at the statue, which was holding its religious ornament. If Satoshi-kun's disappearance really was a curse, I couldn't forgive this god. I found myself irritated by the way the statue was looking down at me. Damn you, Oroshio-sama. If you remade Satoshi-kun disappear, I'll never forgive you. Never. Keiichi didn't seem to understand the significance of the storehouse. He looked bored. Takano-san noticed that and took his scrapbook to show him the brutal history of ancient Himizawa. I'd heard the story already, so I decided to walk around by myself. Since I knew the significance of all these tools, I felt a little nauseated. Though they certainly wouldn't jump out at me, I still found them intimidating. They looked as if they were carved from fresh blood after not having been used in hundreds of years. All the tools looked similar to the ones I saw in the underground torture room at the Sonozaki main family. If those tools were progenies of torture implements, these would be their ancestors. If all the implements looked old, I doubt that they could really be used. They weren't kept maintained like the ones in the Sonozaki house. So, did that mean that they shouldn't scare me? No, on the contrary. It told me that the cruel rituals were indeed performed in the village at one point. Now that I found scary. What Takano-san told me was the truth. When I stopped, Satoshi-kun also stopped behind me one step later. I felt no emotional change in Satoshi-kun. I couldn't tell if he was feeling something or not. I knew he was there, I had no idea how he was feeling. I felt scared of him for the first time. If you could answer me, I'd want to ask him, who demoned you away? Hey, Satoshi-kun, are you listening? Couldn't tell if he could hear me or not. He left, as if he didn't hear anything. Could tell that he'd been sulky ever since I got here. I suddenly felt lonely, so I looked for him while walking around. Realized that there was an altar in front of the statue. He might be there. There's a clean altar. Altar ornamented with religious artifacts. It was kept well maintained. I saw no dust. That would mean, well, the flowers in the vase weren't wilting. I saw a pretty handkerchief under the vase. It looked out of place amongst anything else. I was fairly certain it was Rika Furuda's handkerchief. That would mean that this storehouse is maintained daily. It wasn't a forgotten ruin buried in dust. The brutality that disheveled, the brutality that dwelled in this ritual storehouse is still alive and well in Hinamizawa. That's right. Something as ambiguous as Oshio-sama's curse is nothing more than a simple delusion of the villagers. As Takano-san said, everything that happens in this world is done by humans. I'd accused Oshio-sama of demoning away Satoshi-kun. Oshio-sama is just a statue of bronze and wood. It's nothing but an icon. There are, however, human beings who would try to make that icon seem real. The series of mysterious deaths in Hinizawa is a result of a human choice. Human action. It wouldn't be called Oshio-sama's curse. If Satoshi-kun was the fourth year's victim, then he was victimized by a human being who just was acting the part of the curse. The person who demoned away Satoshi-kun must not have been very far from me. The truth behind Satoshi-kun's disappearance was not so far from my grasp. Thump. I was startled by the sound. It sounded like somebody had dropped something. I looked over at Takano and Keiichi. Takano was lecturing him. Did she drop his scrapbook or something? Bump, bump, bump. Sound came from right behind me, not from them. I'd never heard Satoshi-kun do that. It sounded like somebody was stomping on the floor in frustration. What is it? Bump, bump, bump. Sound continued ignoring my question. Though I heard it right nearby, it sounded as though a child was hopping on a wooden floor somewhere distant. What's wrong, Satoshi-kun? Are you angry or something? I couldn't read his expression. I thought he was mad, but I didn't sense any emotion from him at all. Was he mad that I touched the altar? Maybe you weren't supposed to do that. Thump, thump, thump. Not that I had been able to communicate with Satoshi-kun in a concrete way. I could just talk to him. I was never expecting him to react like that. I didn't sense a willingness to communicate from this creepy sound. There's a chill up my spine. I felt as though all my pores were opening. I'm thinking that it was Satoshi-kun stomping on the floor. Hey, you. It's Satoshi-kun, aren't you? The sound stopped, and I asked that. When I was going yes or no, just silence. Satoshi-kun wouldn't scare me like that. I realized suddenly that the sound hadn't come from Satoshi-kun. Cold shiver shot through my feet and I sprang a step backward. The sound had come right here. Even though I jumped back, it was still just a few meters away. Satoshi-kun would sometimes let me hear his footsteps when I walked. But if it wasn't Satoshi-kun, then there was no guarantee I'd hear its footsteps. So that invisible thing being could already be right in front of my eyes. And I just couldn't see it. Forgot everything and ran. Trained my ears as much as possible for any sound, listening for any footsteps pursuing me. I ran right to the cage and clung to him timidly, turning back to look. The dimly lit area before the altar was quiet, like nothing was happening. But seeing the chilling darkness, stillness, realizing I was just in that space, made me even more frightening now. What's up, Shion? Can you get scared? Keiichi made fun of me. Even though he'd looked horrified just a little while ago, he looked satisfied to see me scared too. I know girls tend to get freaked out by haunted houses. Well, don't mind it. Anyway, let's go. Before Takano-san leaves us behind. I pretended to be fine, but I wasn't sure if I was able to hide my fear entirely. The footsteps were chasing me. They were outside the illumination of the lanterns as if they couldn't get into the light. The presence never left us, however. I followed us like a fourth member of a party. Sometimes he made a stomping sound as if wanting some recognition. But neither Takano nor Keiichi seemed to notice it. It was possible that Takano-san ignored it, but Keiichi would never ignore it. If he could hear it, he would have said something. But just like Satoshi-kun, only I could hear it. What was this thing that was making me so scared? Was it Satoshi-kun in a bad mood? Or was it possible that the presence I believed to be Satoshi-kun might have been him all along? Bump. Bump. What are you upset about, Satoshi-kun? Tell me I did something wrong. I'll apologize. Bump, bump. Bump. If you aren't Satoshi-kun, then where did he go? When did you take his place? Bump. 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 Shino, you alright? Huh? I'm fine. You look pale though. I'd appreciate if you didn't stretch my clothes too much. Ah, sorry. Ah? I'm interrupting you too? Hehehe. I started to engage in conversation to help myself ignore the sound from behind. I didn't hear the sound as much, but it became a bit more distant. Yeah, I shouldn't pay attention to it. Wouldn't bother me if I didn't hear it. I should just ignore the sound noise. Tako-san, new researching Windows custom survived into the present. You are, right? Bump, bump. What am I about to tell you is a secret, alright? I told you, Shion-chan, because you're an understanding person. Well, we just don't want to hear it. If things go awry, I could be ganged up on and punished. She smiled at me like a witch. Bump, bump. Maibara-kun, you keep it a secret, okay? If it gets out, it could suffer Shion-sama's curse, or be made into a sacrifice. If it's the curse, then I wonder what kind of death it'll be this year. If it's sacrificed, then I'll be turned into a Fuji Swamp while still alive? It is tonight, you know. The night of Shion-sama's curse. Certainly is. If the curse strikes for a fifth time, it'll happen tonight. Thump, thump, thump. Tako-san pulled out an old scrapbook from a paper bag and started turning the pages. She opened it to the page with that one article. It's the article about the brutal murder of the Watanashi victim. It happened in the Meiji era. In the story that actually happened, it was around the end of the Meiji era. They discovered an unknown mangled corpse, the victim of a murder in the Onigafuchi village. Never before has there been a corpse treated with such cruelty and inhumanity. Bump, bump, bump. Hey, you guys seriously don't hear that? It's freaking loud. How can you not hear it? Ah, hell, it's freaking noisy. Cut it out already. In the next moment, we all heard a squeaking noise. We turned around in surprise. It was just Tomitake-san opening the door. It startled you? Oh, Jiro-san. Could you not resist seeing inside? It's a splendid treasure trove of torture devices. I'll pass on that. I'm bad at this sort of thing by nature. Tako-san laughed as he's making fun of Tomitake-san for being such a scaredy cat. In any case, the dance and ceremony are over and everybody's going down to the river. The festival as a whole will be over within minutes. Time was up. Never expected that Tomitake-san would save me from this nightmare. His face suddenly looked heroic. Oh? Keiichi-kun, are you leaving too? I've seen enough. Shion, you're good too, right? Let's get out of here. I want some fresh air. I agree. Let's leave. I went into the entry room and turned around. Takano-san was taking photos in a mad rush, though our time was up. Didn't hear that sound anymore. Didn't feel that presence. Didn't feel Satoshi-kun either. But somehow I wasn't sad about that. Even if he followed me out here, I wouldn't be able to tell if it was really him or somebody else. Higurashi when they cry. Kind. Notebook page 172, 173, and 179. Let's go. The underground torture room is officially called the Underground Ritual Storehouse. So do torture room and ritual storehouse mean the same thing? According to Takano-san's theory, bloody rituals including Watanagashi have been passed down among the three families even after the Meiji era. The rituals are always ready to be performed. Their form of worship always revolved around torture. So Hinamizawa's history involves a great deal of human slaughter. Takano-san's theory is correct. The underground storehouse at the Sonzaki house looked well maintained. Takano-san is right about that too. Since the Sonzaki family and the Furuta family both have a ritual storehouse, the Kimiyoshi family must have one too. After all, these ancient and brutal customs are still handed down through the generations. I should remain armed with that knowledge that the occult events are still secretly being performed in this village. Cursed village. I didn't actually consider that. But she's kind of right. The Furuta technically have a ritual storehouse. The Sasaki do as well. It would kind of make sense for the Kimiyoshi to have one as well. I always considered the Furuta one to be the old one, and the new one to be the Sasaki one. The Sanctity of Ritual Storehouse is one of the most prominent elements in the worship of Oyo Shiya-sama. Of course, I knew that since I'm originally from Hinamizawa, but violating the sanctity is actually a more serious problem than I thought. Takano-san's research shows that the history of the ritual storehouse goes way back. The ritual implements within have long been viewed as inviolable objects, which is why it was strictly forbidden to enter. Takano-san's theory says that Watanagashi was once a public execution performed to stabilize the reign of the three families, rather than a purely religious ritual. So, if so, the ritual should hardly be called sacred. Under those circumstances, the implements should have been made despised as symbols of hatred and fear. When instruments of fear are too visible, it only creates a reign of terror. But keep them as hidden as possible so they gain divinity. Many said they would become tainted if the laymen touched them. The only reason for that was to preserve their false prestige through secrecy, since they would lose their sanctity if revealed before the common folk. In other words, the true identity of the ritual storehouse sacredness was fear. There was the true emotion rolling over this village. The reason why Takano-san and Tomitake-san were cursed is because they broke into the ritual storehouse. Don't know how the villagers found out about it. Maybe somebody was watching. Maybe there was an anti-theft alarm. Either way, an intrusion must have reported to the highest level of the curse system. That's because, considering the distance between the village and the site where Takano-san's body was found, she must have been killed right after we came out of the ritual storehouse. It was done very quickly. It's possible that a special assassination team existed for that purpose, or that the plan had been set up a long time ago. They might have been secret agents of the Sonzaki family, but the latter sounded more valid. But if so, who would have been the victim if nobody already broke into the ritual storehouse? Let's save. And this is going to be the last chapter for today. Going 10. My relatives gathered at the Sonzaki house after the festival to have a little party. I mingled with my uncles and had fun. I was trying to get rid of my eerie memories of the ritual storehouse. Mion was acting as the successor, so I tried to stay away from her. I'm sure she would feel weird if I talked to her in a formal way. In consideration of the old hag's age, we ended the party around 11 p.m. We all helped to clean up, and the women washing the dishes in the kitchen. With the woman washing the dishes in the kitchen. And the men folding the tables and putting them away in the storeroom. It only took about 30 minutes, and everybody left one after another. By that then, Mion was no longer acting as Sonozaki's successor, was back to being her normal self. Maybe I will overextend a little, was lying down on a tatami mat. Kasai asked if I could get in the car. I told him I'd rather not move anymore. Sis, can I spend the night here? I just want to sleep. Danny will get mad if she finds you. By the way, didn't you have school tomorrow, Shion? Not tomorrow is our school's anniversary, so there's no class. How many times a year does your school have its anniversary? Well, oh well. Okay, Kasai-san. She can stay here tonight. Understood. Good night. Come on, Shion, wake up. Granny will get really mad if you fall asleep here. Here, hold on to me and sleep in my room. Sis. My alter ego told me that I'm in a demon's stomach. I wouldn't have woken up if I hadn't heard that voice. But when I stop, he always walks one extra step. I might not have woken up at all. Didn't remember much after that. Sprobby brought to Mion's room and immediately crawled into the futon. After a while, Mion got her futon ready next to mine, turned the lights off, and went to sleep. At least that's what I thought. I got up and turned the lights on. Mion's futon was empty. The futon felt cold. Mion must have left it a while ago. Did she go to the bathroom? No, the closet bathroom was right there down the hallway. The light in the bathroom was off. Where did she go? The ticking of the clock was loud and annoying in this silence. The hand pointed to a little before 3 a.m. I was left alone all of a sudden in this late night. Felt the eeriness of the ritual storehouse coming back to me, after almost managing to forget it in the ruckus earlier. Okay, that I get. I tried to sense the surrounding in the house. There should be an eerie atmosphere, strange noises or footsteps. There shouldn't. Stepped onto the freezing cold hallway to look for Mion. When I did, I immediately noticed light coming from nearby rooms. That room belongs to the hag. The hag went to sleep early and woke up early. She was very sick about her bedtime. It was strange to see her lights on in the middle of the night. I could hear voices too. Those voices belonged to the hag and Mion. I hurried up to the room and listened to the conversation. Since in the middle of the night, I could hear the words very clearly. But you know, those young ones went too far. You're right. They made Oshio-sama angry, so I guess they got what they deserved. Mion's voice sounded as cold as the one I heard down in the torture room. I held my breath. The police say they're investigating, but are you sure? I guess. Probably Takano-san. My heart almost stopped. Oshio-sama got angry. The police are investigating. It's probably Takano-san. And what day was it today? Those words told me that something was happening. My teeth started to chatter. I desperately tried to stop them. Felt like my body was swelling up suddenly, could no longer hear as well. Calm down, breathe. Listen more carefully. According to Mion and the hag, the conversation had another incident definitely took place. The victims were Takano and Tomitaki-san. From what I could tell, both Mion and the hag thought it made sense that whatever it was happened to them. No. I need to think more calmly. They did say that they deserved it for making Oshio-sama angry. Did they say Takano-san and Tomitaki-san made Oshio-sama angry? How did they make Oshio-sama angry? They knew. My body started to shake. They knew we snuck into a ritual storehouse. Then would that mean Keiichi and I were also subject to Oshio-sama's curse? Suddenly a phone rang. The police was by the front door. The front door was opposite to the hag's room, further down the hall. The ringing echoed through the long hallway. It sounded so eerie, almost like it was coming from hell. That was when I felt someone behind me. Of course, there was nobody there when I turned around. There was someone there a moment ago. Don't know if it was Satoshi-kun. Don't sense any emotion, so I couldn't tell. I also don't know how long it had been there. It was as if somebody was watching me listen in on the conversation. That was the feeling I got. It couldn't be Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun would never be that intimidating or scary. My mind turned all red. It was suffused with blood. Have you experienced anything like that? Those footsteps always following me. They even came to my bedside and looked down at me. I remember what Rena Ryugo had said on that rainy day. You would be okay if it's that true. Urshiyo-sama won't get mad at you. Urshiyo-sama wasn't angry. Nobody would follow me. So, what did this mean? Ever since we snuck into the shrine to storage, somebody had been following. What is it? Calm down, calm down. That's right, Rena wasn't talking about me. She was talking about Satoshi-kun. That's what's happened to Satoshi-kun. Everything he went through is a sign of Urshiyo-sama's curse. That's right. That's why I encountered the curse of Urshiyo-sama. You feel someone is watching from a distance. And it follows you. A creepy feeling crawled up and spread across my back. Then it watches from behind you. After that, you start hearing an extra footstep. Told loudly. Oh, it's almost as though Rena Ryugo was predicting what would happen to me. Had Rena been talking about Satoshi-kun back then? Or had she actually been talking about me? But you start hearing it even inside your house after a while. Then Urshiyo-sama keeps watching you even when you're sleeping in the dark. Right by your side, waiting silently. I knew by now that there was no mistake. No matter how I looked at it, she had been talking about me. Yes, me. It had been about me. The curse of Urshiyo-sama. Was it the curse of Urshiyo-sama? What is the curse of Urshiyo-sama? That was when I actually felt something for real. Someone grabbed my collar. Oh, no voice came out. I wanted to scream, but all I could do was open and close my mouth as if something was stuck in my throat. It was Mion. She looked even colder than she'd looked in the underground torture room. It only made sense. She'd come out of the hallway to answer the phone. I tried to come up with an excuse. However, the way Mion looked at me was cold. Even if I really had run into her by accident, I could tell by her look in her eyes that she wouldn't believe me. I felt cold sweat all over my body. I couldn't even move my fingers. Sorry. I apologized. I could have said something to get myself out of the situation, but apology came out first. But Mion didn't appear to hear me. She walked to the front door, still holding on to my collar. The phone was ringing. No person doesn't usually let the phone ring for so long at a time of night. The phone call itself doesn't seem to be real to me. Mion picked up the phone. This is Mion. Ah, I see. I understand. Please take off things at your end. Also, please make sure that nobody talks about this. Yes. Goodbye. Mion put down the phone after a short conversation. What did she mean make sure nobody talks about this? Who called and anyway? Mion put her forehead to mine and spoke. Did you hear? Which conversation was he talking about? Well, she had to be talking about the one with the hack. If yes, what would happen to me? I don't know what you're talking about. Mion pulled my collar, pressured her nose on mine, and continued to speak. Just what you heard. Urshiyo-sama fell upon Tomitake-san and Takano. It's really very unfortunate. Shion, I get you scared, but at this point you should probably just say say exactly what you heard, which is that it was unfortunate in that you thought Hag asked if you know who it was, and that you thought it was Takano, and that's literally all you heard. It was like I was talking to myself in a mirror, but what I was saying is in the mirror was ever so cold. Sis? What is the curse of Urashima-sama? Tomitaka-san killed himself by clawing out his throat. Takano-san was burned to death in an old drum. Terrible, isn't it? Tomitaka-san clawed at his own throat until he died. Why Takano-san was burned to death in an old drum? What? What? Felt something furry crawling up on my spine. I also felt like my stomach was turning upside down. Didn't feel any strength in my legs. If Mion let go of my collar, I'd probably collapse on the spot. Why did they die that way? Don't you know, Shion? I'm asking you because I don't know. I don't know, Don't you see? There can only be one reason. Please don't talk as if I already know the answer. What do you mean? My heart was pounding. Felt that my next breath would be so bloody and hot that I'd choke on it. Don't you know? It's because they made Oroshio-sama angry. The first year, it was the manager of the dam construction site. The second year, it was the traitors to the village. The third, it was the pacifist. The fourth year, it was the relatives of the traitor. It always thought that the victims were people who had something to do with the dam conflict. So they didn't have to do anything against the village during the dam conflicts. Since I didn't do anything against the village during the dam conflicts, I assumed I was safe. I should have known. Should have known everything that would be the curse of Oroshio-sama. I knew Oroshio-sama's anger was the curse of Oroshio-sama. I knew Oroshio-sama's anger would get angry. Oroshio-sama would get angry if I snuck into the ritual storehouse. But since it wasn't held responsible in any way for the dam conflict, I never thought I would be a victim of the curse. Did I ever think there would be an incident in the 5th year? Did I ever think that I'd be a victim of the 5th year incident? Tomitaka-san snuck into the storehouse and he clawed at his own throat until he died. Takano-san was burned to death in an old drum. It must be a lie, it couldn't be true. Even if it was formidable, it was just a space for storing some old torture implements. How could they be killed for just sneaking in there? Especially in some gruesome ways. But I thought about it again and realized that those people were absolutely capable of doing something like that. The main Sozaki family was capable of it. If the Sozaki family had been pulling the strings behind the series of mysterious deaths, they could do it. The Sozaki family even kidnapped the grandson of the Minister of Construction during the dam conflict. They could do it. The Sozaki family made Satoshi-kun disappear completely. They could do it. Mion leaned against me, before falling into the cold hallway floor. She collapsed rather violently. I usually don't go to sleep with my stun gun. But since I was too tired and sleepy to get ready for bed, I still had it on me. I had my stun gun on me. Finally understood. Don't know who killed them exactly, whose idea it was or who ordered it. Don't know who was actually involved. But Mion and the hag knew everything. Satoshi-kun, now I finally know. Now I know what I need to do. I'll settle the score for you, Satoshi-kun. Will avenge you, Satoshi-kun. Won't be killed like you, Satoshi-kun. I walked into the hag's room. I have big Watanagashi vibes on this. Shion takes over for Mion. Here. In theory. And does everything Mion did in the original. Ha 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 ha. One of my theories back then was that they switched. Though not at this point, that's for sure. I walked into the hag's room. She was sitting at taking some medicine. Her back was turned to me. Nina and I are twins. If I acted like her, the hag wouldn't notice the difference. I didn't think she even suspect me. Put my stun gun to her neck. Pulled the trigger. Heard an indescribable electrical sound and the hag's lights went off. She fell in a twisted position. I don't know how long it would take for a person to regain their freedom of movement after getting knocked out with a stun gun, so I had to restrain them before they woke back up. It was unbelievably calm. The key to the underground torture room was in a forbidden drawer, the only that only the head of the family can access. Mion had told me about this once. I never looked for a drawer before, but I found it exactly where I thought it would be. The key was on a chain with several of its sisters. Each key had a plaque on it and said what it was used for. They were all in Mion's handwriting. She was an idiot for being so conscientious, but I'm sure it sure helped me out. Put the keychain in my pocket and headed to the outdoor storeroom to find a cart. Found a large flashlight there as well. There was a strap on the flashlight so I could put it on my shoulder. That way I'd have both hands free to carry Mion and the hag. The music is disturbing. I loaded Mion and then my grandmother into a cart and carried them to the underground torture room. I was prepared to use the stun gun again if they woke up while I was working. But it was more powerful than I imagined and the hag showed no signs of waking. This was the stun gun Kasai specially ordered for me when I told him I wanted a powerful one. I remember telling him that it was illegally modified stun gun that I should never use it just for fun. I used my flashlight to find the light switch. Found it easily and turned it on. All the lights went on in the basement. Although there was now illumination, it was very dim. I moved quickly so to finish what I needed to do before I woke up. I decided to put Mion in a cell beyond the torture room. The lights in the torture room were so bright that it was like daylight. There was a door there. I was fairly certain the cells were on the other side of the door. The proper key was here. The keys made a tinkling sound. It felt cold air coming in through the gap in the door. There must be a huge opening on the other side. I opened the door and saw nothing but darkness. Felt along the wall and found a light switch. Turned on the switch and the light bulbs lit up, revealing a huge rocky cavern. Didn't look a natural cave. It must have been like an air raid shelter. There were several hollow openings with bars across them. Those were the cells. I walked up to the closet cell and checked to see if it was strong enough to confine her. I pushed and pulled on the bars. I rammed against them with all my weight and decided they were perfectly sturdy. It was secure enough to be called a cell. I opened the lock and carried Mion in. I wasn't particularly strong, just average. I'd never thought I was strong enough to carry a whole person. But now I didn't need to pretend to be weak, could easily lift and drag their bodies. Put Mion in the cell. She seemed to moan a little. I didn't need to check to make sure the effective stun gun was wearing off. Closed the bars and turned the key in the lock. Then I ran to the hag, who must have been starting to wake up too. Fortunately, there was no sign of her regaining consciousness. Maybe the difference in age has something to do with it. I looked for a table to restrain her on. Found a wheelchair with restraints for the hand, feet, and put the hag in. Of course, she didn't resist, but her dead weight made it seem like she was a huge French doll, but one made of flesh. I put her hand on the armrest and restrained them in the wrists with the metal with the metal rings and hinges. I did the same with her feet. This must have been a wheelchair specially remodeled to restrain a person. Other than the restraints, it was a regular wheelchair. I waited for the hack to wake up. I had so many things I wanted to ask her. Didn't think she'd answer honestly, but I had plenty of tools to make her talk. Was in no rush. When the hack had a concern, relatives took care of the problem. That was how it worked in the Sonozaki family. She was the leader of the family, so all the information they gathered would come on its way to her. She must know everything that happens in Hinamizawa, including the curse of Oyoshiro-sama. I heard a noise from the cell. Mion must have woken up before the hag did. Speaking of the hag, She didn't seem like she was about to wake up anytime soon. She was restrained even if she did. Had no need to fear. She might already be dead. Left the hag there and headed to the cell. Shion, what do you think you're doing? She talked like the successor, but she sounded frightened. She obviously understood the situation she was in right now. Good morning, Mion. You never thought you'd be in here, huh? As the acting head, I order you. Open this up. Haha, you don't sound so scary in there. You need to talk more like a leader, don't you? Though talking the way will only make you look like a fool. There was nothing funny about it, but I wanted to intimidate Mion. My laughter echoed to the cave. It was artificial and meaningless laughter. I heard it over and over as it echoed. It sounded as if I wasn't the only one laughing. I couldn't stand it, so I stopped. Silence filled the air. The silence almost hurt my ears. So I started to speak. Tomitako-san and Tako-san's become the victims this year. Didn't expect that. What an idea to burn Tomitako-san to death. But actually, she would be the kind of person who'd prefer to die that way. Maybe she's satisfied, huh? Mio didn't say anything. She just stared at me to see how I proceed. What about the way Tomitako-san died? He clawed out his own throat, right? Did you give him a shot of some kind? Or is there a torture device that did that to him? Mion didn't reply. I was smiling boldly, but I became impatient and finally kicked the bars. I made a violent noise. Mion jumped as if she was kicked directly. It's boring not to get any answers. Do you have an idea what will happen if I get angry? How would I know? Mion finally replied. She was odious, but at the same time sounded pitiful. Hey, Mion. As the successor, why don't you tell me? Let's see. I had just too many things I wanted to ask her. I wanted to ask her about me, about the incident, about the curse, about Satoshi-kun. I don't even know where to start. Before I ask her about those things, I asked her one other thing. You know, there's no point in trying to resist, don't you? Mion glared at me silently. Because we're twins, I knew that was just a bluff. We've come this far, so there's no point in me hesitating anymore. You shouldn't expect hesitation or even mercy from me, sis. Mion must have been feeling the cold sweat on her face. Although the light was dim, I could tell she was frightened. Okay, here I go. First, about the series of mysterious deaths in Himizawa, also known as the Curse of Oshio-sama. What's the meaning of it? Is it to signify the end of the dam conflict? I think so. You don't sound a little confused, but she answered. Felt satisfaction now that we were communicating. I continued with a smile. You think, huh? Don't you know the details? You know yourself. That the successor is simply a messenger for Granny. Yeah, right. The successor must know everything the current head is thinking, right? Do you really think I believe you're just a messenger? Although I always surround Granny, I don't always know what she's thinking. Look, I can understand her all the time. Okay, so you're saying that everything about the curse of Oshio-sama is decided by the hag herself, right? I assumed she'd talk to the successor about it. When it's something dangerous, Granny decides on its own. I don't have anything to do with it. But even if she decides by herself, Grandma uses you to take care of various things, doesn't she? Are you telling me you don't know anything? No, she doesn't use me for that. I really don't understand it myself, but it's like I take care of the problems on the surface, but someone else takes problems on the outside. Who's the one taking care of the outside problems? I don't know. Haven't you seen anybody? Haven't you heard a phone conversation? There must be someone who gets in touch with the hag at the time, every year around the time the curse happens. I don't know. I really don't. Mion shook her head. Okay, let me change the question. Why were Tomitake and Takano-san chosen as victims, even though they had nothing to do with the dam conflict? Was it because they snuck into the ritual storehouse? As soon as Mion heard the words ritual storehouse, her expression shifted. The ritual storehouse? They intruded something on the storehouse and through the shrine? Didn't you know? I thought you already knew. If they really did that, it was truly stupid of them. Or something would happen to them. Mion muttered bitterly while shaking her head repeatedly. Mion's reaction made me realize the true meaning of the forbidden storeroom for ritual implements. The ritual storehouse is a sacred building, so nobody can go inside. The curse will fall upon any who disobey. Any child would know that rule. However, just because they knew about it didn't mean that they all believed in it. Although they were told that it would be cursed, most of the kids actually enjoyed hearing the stories. They simply didn't believe it was true. However, Mion's reaction told me it absolutely was. If they actually did it, of course something would happen to them. He was saying that if someone snuck into the ritual storehouse, that person should be killed. What do you know on what you know and what I know aren't matching up anymore. Of course I'm aware I shouldn't just waltz into the storehouse. But to be killed is such a gruesome way for doing it. I never knew that, did you? That's because you're ignorant about it, Shion. Well, sorry about being ignorant. Could you please explain it to me? Just like you said, the kids don't really believe the curse. They assume it's just superstition. But they don't know if an adult found out they'd be in big trouble. But the elderly people in Hinazawa, it's something more serious. Mion explained to me how the elderly people blindly believed in Urshiya-sama, how sacred the festival are to them. It's probably something the younger generation would never understand, but they are possessed by a very strong, deeply rooted devotion towards Urshiya-sama. Mion then went on to tell me how sinful it was to violate the rule of the ritual storehouse. I just couldn't believe things like that were still going on even in modern day. Couldn't even reply appropriately. But even if it was unbelievable, I couldn't ignore what I was hearing from my twin sister. I see. But Mion, doesn't the rule say that one victim gets killed by a curse and another has to become a sacrifice? The body of the sacrifice is never to be found. There are 2 dead bodies this time. What do you think of that? Mio doesn't know that besides Takano-san, Tomitake-san, Keiichi and all also snuck into the ritual storehouse. So try to lead her a little. I know. That doesn't make sense. Maybe Takano-san's burned body wasn't supposed to be found. Maybe the intention was for her to vanish. Or, I'm not so sure, but what? Just say what you're thinking, I won't get mad. Mion hesitated a little first and then started to speak. Actually, 4 people stuck into the ritual storehouse. So maybe. So maybe what? Maybe the other 2 will become the sacrifice and get demoned away. Higurashi when they cry, Kai. Oh, Mion. Oh, Shion, oh, Shion. Mion's words were stuck in my head. If those 2 dead bodies were the result of a curse, then there should be 2 sacrifices to calm Urshiya-sama's anger. The 4 of us snuck into the shrine storage together. It was a simple equation. Did that mean that Keiichi and I were in danger? I got drunk, fell asleep, and decided to stay overnight. Was that because of the alcohol? Or did somebody put a drug in my drink? It's not like me to get drunk and spend a night at the hag's house. I wanted to forget about what happened in the eerie storehouse, so I drank too much. But I really was strange for me to get that drunk. Maybe it was a good thing I woke up in the middle of the night. I could have been the one to wake up in a cell. Sometimes it's hard to recognize danger when you avoid it accidentally. Part of me wanted to just laugh at the idea, but another part felt frightened that I was so close to being in Mion's position. If my thinking was correct, I wonder how Keiichi Mibara was doing right now. I don't see him in any of the cells, but it didn't guarantee his safety. Takano-san and Tomitake-san had been executed. There was a possibility that Keiichi could already be dead. But just like what happened to Satoshi-kun, it might only happen after a few days. When the sun rose, I was going to pretend to be Mion and head to her school. I was going to check if Keiichi Mibara was safe. If he had already disappeared, The enemy would come after me next. I'd have to be a decoy for myself. But if he was still safe, I'd need to keep my eyes on him. I was sure the enemy would come after him after that scatterbrain. If I became Mion, Shion would disappear. The enemy would think Shion had already been demoned away and then concentrate on Keiichi. If nothing happens to Keiichi, that would also be fine. It proved that nothing would happen to me either. The hag was still sleeping in the wheelchair. I was going to interrogate her, but actually, I wasn't expecting to learn that much. The woman was also known as the Empress Sonozaki. Probably wouldn't say a thing if her fingers were cut off. Mion, her successor, was the complete opposite. She spoke readily, but didn't know too much about anything. Mion had said she was only a messenger, that someone else was taking care of the problems on the underside. It's possible Mion had grown to be a good liar, that she tried to deceive me with a straight face. But at the same time, I could see the hag not letting Mion get involved in the underside of the village. If I were her, I wouldn't have used Mion for that either. Unlike me, Mion was a nice person. While there were only ones and zeros in the world, she believed there were numbers with decimal points. In other points, she could never be cruel. If the hag thought the same way I did, it was very possible that the one who took problems on the underside, X, was the one who actually governed the curse of Ushio-sama. If the hag became concerned about something, X would deal with it, either directly or indirectly. Or maybe the hag and X would discuss the details first. But did X really exist? If he did, his place in the village hierarchy was a lot more important than that of the successor, unlike Mion, who was too nice. He was discreet, cruel and cunning. Furthermore, he was extremely close to the hag, someone who would have a lot of contact with her just before it was time for the curse. Because of the way Tomitake-san died, it could be someone who regularly dealt with unusual drugs. It could be a member of the medical institution. Director of the Irie Clinic. Irie? If in the uncertain village, Irie was famous for opening such a beautiful clinic, for working so hard for the village's sake. The village liked his mature personality and really respected him. There's nothing scarier than a doctor who's also a murderer. If Irie was a person behind the curse, all the mysterious deaths could be explained. However, there was only a slim chance of Irie being X. The main reason for that the hag wouldn't trust him. Like many of the elderly, the hag doesn't like young people. I knew she'd never trust him because of his age. Furthermore, she had openly criticized his behavior among the relatives once. Although Irie was famous, he was an outsider after all. He wasn't born here. He tried to maintain a good relationship with the villagers as the director of the clinic, but that was just on the surface. He couldn't even imagine the hag telling him about her worries or about the village's underside. If she was suspicious of others, as I was, then she'd only gather trustworthy people who deal with the underside. The first people could come to mind were the leaders of the three families. Leaving Rikachama out, the head of the Kimiyoshi family was a strong possibility. He was the only one who could advise Empress Sonozaki. They were of similar age and everyone knew they were very close outside of family councils. Furthermore, as the mayor, he often went to the Sonozaki house just before Watanagashi to discuss festival preparations. You could easily picture them talking privately. The one who executed the curse of Ushio-sama, the one who murdered Takano-san and Tomitake-san, the mastermind behind the series of mysterious deaths that had been going for the past 5 years. Was he coming after me? Did he get to Satoshi-kun? When I thought about Satoshi-kun, I felt elevated. I was fearful of possibly being the year's victim until just a moment ago. I was scared that X was after me. But when I thought about it, I realized, whoever it was, this person had gotten Satoshi-kun. I'd looked so hard, but I couldn't find him. Almost forgotten about this enemy. For better or for worse, he was going to appear before me again. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't find the enemy. But now, he wasn't trying to find me. That was it. I wasn't only being chased, I was chasing him too. When I realized all this, I was no longer afraid of dying to the 5th year's curse. It had become a game. I wasn't only being threatened, I was threatening too. Now was the time to settle the score for Satoshi-kun. Now was the time to awaken passion that had grown weak over the past year. I could feel righteousness, indignation, and courage flare up within me. The only emotion that can defeat fear is anger. When my anger completely overtook my fear, I felt as if I were reborn. Why don't you wake up, Empress of the Hags? Well, Empress of the Hags, I kicked her wheelchair rather violently, but she didn't wake up either. Are you pretending to be asleep? I grabbed her head and pulled her hair, but even then, the hag still stood silent with a straight face. Then I noticed something. Looked for an appropriate torture device. They were all large scale, none of them being particularly handy. That's when I saw a cigarette lighter on a cushion in the tatami room. One of the relatives must have left it here. I lit the lighter, huge flame appeared. I turned the lighter off and went back to the hag with it. Can you see it? Can't you see it? This is a cigarette lighter somebody left behind. I lit it in front of her eyes. I'm going to burn your nose now. You don't want that, do you? I won't want it. So why don't you quit pretending to be asleep? There was still no response. Put the flame right under her nose without hesitation. The tip of the flame touched the tip of her nose. The flame must have burned her nose here. It smelled terrible. I was certain, but I continued anyway. Brought the flame close to her eyes. Her eyelids didn't move one bit. The flame burned her eyelashes, making it smell awful again. I turned the lighter off and then felt her throat and wrist. Didn't feel any warmth. I didn't feel any pulse either. Did she die from the stun gun? There's no way she could pretend to be asleep while being burned. Even if she could endure the pain, anyone would reflexively move their eyelids if a flame came close to their eyes. But she didn't. I turned to the sink water on and aimed the end of the hose at the hag's face. The water pressure was too high, but squeezing the tip of the hose, I could make it squirt. The water hit the hag's face, but still no reaction. Shit. You gotta be kidding me. She's dead. The one who was at the center of everything is dead now. I knew she wouldn't talk, but I didn't expect her to end up dead. I'd never even thought of killing her. I walked around the room restlessly. Didn't feel guilty, but instead feel frustrated with what I'd done. Come on, I need to calm down. What do I need to be afraid of? Calm down and stay cool. Calm down, stay cool. Could feel my brain starting to calm down, my emotions cooling down with it. She was the true enemy. It was just that I killed her before confronting her about it. Sooner or later, I would have killed her anyway. She wouldn't have said anything in the first place, so there wasn't really a reason why I shouldn't let her live. I didn't realize until now, and that was why I got frustrated. My revenge for Satoshi-kun started with the unexpected death of my grandmother. It was a strange feeling, like I was weeping, sopping wet clothes. Replaced the feeling with anger. I couldn't forgive her. I couldn't forgive the old hag for abusing the Hojo family, including Satoshi-kun, for so many years. She cornered him psychologically as well as physically. She didn't deserve an easy death from a stun gun. I picked up a whip that was hanging from the wall. The whip was designed to make sure the person on the receiving end got seriously injured. I swung it up and down. The sound reminded me of when a child was hitting things like a jump rope or pretended it was a whip. But unlike them, I made a purple mark on the hag's face. A reddish-black blood started to ooze out. I swung it again and down again. This time, the whip hits her in the head. The hair flew in the air. Saw a bunch of her hair on the tip of the whip. At the end of the bunch of the hair, there was a piece of her skin. It seemed the whip had ripped part of her scalp off. Continued to hit her with the whip, didn't bother removing the hair beforehand. The tip of the whip was divided into many points, with each point having a fish hook at the end. These hooks added to the speed of the whip, not only scratching the victim, but tore the skins as well. The hag's hair was all messed up, and her face was getting bloody. She'd started to look like a real demon. Stopped the whipping. Not because my arm was tired, but because I couldn't stand the feeling of her hair on, on the tip touching me every time I swung the whip. I threw the whip at the hag. Breathing heavily, I realized I was covered in her hair. Almost felt like 1,000 maggots crawling all over me. I brushed it off violently. You deserve this, you fucking demon hag. Put my hands on my knees and exhaled roughly. It was then that I noticed it. Picked up and turned around. There it is. The person who had been watching me. I snuck into the shrine storage. I sensed the person sitting in the Tami room, and it enjoyed watching me torture my grandmother. An overwhelming emotion stirred to swallow me up. I tried desperately not to feel it. How long have you been there? You should have said something. It was just there. Just like Satoshi-kun, it was just there. It was extremely uncomfortable to have it just be there. I see, Rena told me. Are you, Yoshio-sama? It smiled boldly, and yet I could feel my body shivering. You can't fool me. Are you saying that Yoshio-sama, that the curse of Yoshio-sama really does exist? Come on, who would believe something like that, huh? It was just my imagination. It couldn't be that the curse of Yoshio-sama. The curse couldn't be real. Everything was done by humans. They made everything look like it was a curse. Well, I don't care if you saw what I did. Won't charge you for it. But if you're thinking about interfering, I won't hold back, you know? No matter what I said, nothing happened. It was like trying to communicate with an insect. It felt like I was starting at a spider in the middle of the web, and the spider was staring back. I turned to the hag in the wheelchair. I couldn't leave her body here forever. I don't need to make her death known, then it should be quick. It's best if it doesn't exist. Not even in the secret underground torture room. Phew. I exhaled to try to calm myself down. Oh, I remember now. When I was a little girl, Tasa used to love making me feel scared. He often told me scary stories about vicious, horrible things. He called me a story about the secret torture room of the Sonozaki family. According to the story, there was a well in the torture room for dumping bodies in. There was a pile of tortured corpses at the bottom of the well, and resentful moans could be heard echoing from there. About halfway down the well, there was a different tunnel, which was a secret passage leading into distant mountains. That bit was from Mion's telling of the story. It was probably an amalgamation of tellings from different relatives. The room was supposed to be a huge secret, but everybody got loose lips at the chance to have fun scaring the young successors. Mion, you remember one of our relatives talking about a hidden well for a long time ago? There's supposed to be a hidden well somewhere. This torture dungeon room, it's connected to a secret passage. Did you hear something with a noise earlier? That was me whipping the hag. Mio didn't reply, but I saw her bit her lip. Don't worry, I won't whip you. But if you don't cooperate, I might punish her some more. Next time, I won't use the whip. Down at the end. You see the cell in the darkness? It's in there. Mion pointed weakly. I walked down to where her finger indicated. A light bulb lit at the cell. It was a lot smaller than the one Mion was in. It was very shallow, and I didn't even need to open the door to see how tiny it was. Of course, there was no well in there. I became angry, assuming that she lied to me. But after considering it, I didn't actually think she would at this point. I opened the door and walked in. I noticed something immediately. There was an opening right in the middle of the cell. The opening was naturally disguised. The way the rocks, the shadows of position perfectly hid the well. The tip of the rock inside the cell concealed the entrance. Unless you went in, you'd never notice. It was a shallow cell that nobody would ever think of going in. Besides, the bars allow you to see the inside well enough. The cell is not even a few meters deep, so it would only take a glance to see everything. Nobody would think of unlocking the door and walking in. But walking in was the only way anyone could ever find the well. Furthermore, there was many ceilings in the huge cave. Who'd think that one of them was hiding a secret well? Inside of the well was dark. I couldn't see anything. But every little noise I made produced echoes I could tell was a very deep well. I brought my flashlight from the torture room and shone it down the well. Almost looked more like a vertical tunnel. Obviously, a man-made one at that. There was wedges on the wall like a ladder, and they looked as if they were inviting me to descend. It's, it's kind of ironic that the secret escape route to the underground torture room ended up being a well that takes you even further down. You had no way of knowing whether it would take you to freedom or to hell. Furthermore, there were the tortured bodies of the past victims at the bottom, who would be able to go down the well without hesitation. Nobody in their right mind would go down this well to look for a secret tunnel, hearing the voices of the dead all the while. Hey, have you ever gone down the well, Mion? I never even wanted to. Ha 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 ha, I feel the same way. Why would I go down the well when they already tossed the victims of this torture room? Well, I went back to the torture room and then returned to the cave, pushing the wheelchair containing the hack. Mion screamed. Shion, are you going to push Granny down the well? No, I'm not. I'm just dumping her body. She's dead. Rest assured, I did torture her to death. It was probably the stun gun. Maybe her heart failed. I could just leave her body here, but I didn't want it to rot, you know? How could you? Hey, do you want to take care of her even now that she's dead? Maybe you can use chopsticks to pick maggots off her body. Huh? Mion covered her ears and shook her head. Everything I said seemed to bother Mion. Her own life wasn't guaranteed at this point. Shion, why did you do this? Let's see. Why do you think? Nobody said anything for a while, but silence was soon broken. Satoshi? Is this revenge? I don't know if it was real revenge. Since it happened so quickly, I'm sure she died without even feeling a thing. Hey, Mion, now that I think about it, I did have a reason to kill Grandma. Do you know what it was? It wasn't just because she killed Satoshi-kun. It's because she lied. I slapped the hack's head. You said it too. You told me that I ripped out my nails, she would forgive everyone. That's why I ripped out my 3 of my nails. I did what you told me to, right? But she didn't keep her promise. She made Satoshi-kun disappear. Why? What was this for? I continued to slap the hack's head. The blood was all over my hand by then. It felt gross. I tried to wipe it off her clothes, but then her hair got on my hand. Ran to the sink in the torture room and washed my hands with a brush. When I'd done that, I went back to Mion's cell. After Satoshi-kun disappeared, you came over and told me. You said that the relationship between me and Satoshi-kun was forgiven. You also said that Sozaki main house had nothing to do with Satoshi-kun's disappearance. Yeah, You lied. Lied. Lied, 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 lied. 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 My shouts echoed through the cave. I was breathing heavily. Felt like I used up all the air in my lung. I believe you don't know anything. You aren't even sure if the old lady actually trusted you. But I don't know if she forgave Satoshi-kun because of what I did. She wouldn't have told you the truth. The hag didn't keep her promise. She said she'd forgive everyone, but she lied. She didn't forgive Satoshi-kun. Lie, 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 lie. Damn it. Damn it. Give me back Satoshi-kun. I want him back. I want him, I want him, I want him. Kicked the hack's leg repeatedly. Each time I kicked, the wheelchair made a squeaky noise. I ran out of breath and kneeled down. Nu was still covering her ears and was now shaking. There were tears in her eyes. Sorry to scare you. Sorry about that. If I really don't know, I won't torment you. Don't worry. But if you were ever lying to me, well, you'll have to accept whatever comes your way. You know what I mean. Higurashi when they cry Kai. By the way, I have my own rankings for the characters, and Mion was pretty much at the bottom because of Watanagashi, and Shion was towards the top. Yeah, if this really is, well, answers, and it's telling us, yep, there was switching Watanagashi, then yep, all right, yep, that's no longer the case for my ranking. Notebook page 183. I wasn't planning to kill the old hag so quickly. I was going to kill her anyway, but it was too soon. People would normally assume that the Sozaki family operates as a hierarchy, but that's not true. It's actually more like a system of government. Several ministries stem from the main family, and each forms a hierarchy of its own. These ministries don't communicate with each other. The people who belong to a given ministry don't know what other ministries are doing. The way the Sozaki family's dealings are kept perfectly secret. Of course, the most important people of the family govern several ministries. They know, of course, about their own ministries. They know a little bit about the ministry their relatives run, but none of them knew everything. There are ministries that work in the open, there are ministries that work unseen, and there are some smaller ones that Audio runs herself. Mion seems to know about most of them, but she doesn't know them all. The fact that she didn't know about the curse, considering that the fact the hag died before I could interrogate her, is a huge loss. 185. The head of the Kimiyoshi family was the one who called the main house most often after the 50th curse. My father called the second most. My parents were still high in the hierarchy, but the stir caused by my mother's this omen still hang over us, so we get treated as outcasts. So the fact that my father received so many calls proved how much the hag valued us despite the distance at which we were kept, demonstrating her own two-faced respect for both sides of the coin. My father seemed to be in charge of the intelligence bureau. He reported police information, gossip, and rumors going around in the Yakuza business to the hag. He silences this and distorts information at her request. By the way, my servant Kasai is an old friend of my father's. That must be why Kasai knows so many things. But I don't know if my father is involved in the curse's execution. My assumption is that although he got information from the police investigation about the case, he wasn't involved in the execution itself. The fact that my father and the hag have this close connection isn't widely known. People know that she uses his information network, but they don't look very far beyond that. In the same way, it's possible that the cursed execution team exists under the hag's direct control, but we just aren't aware of it. Interesting. Well, I'm saving it here. Shion is officially totally off the rocker. We're now just watching Keiichi doing the murder again, except it's Shion, and except she's way more crazy and has a way more terrible motive. Hooray! Well, fuck. I'm gonna call it here. I'm just gonna go continue because I have to exit. Yep. Next Saturday, if I can go along, we're finishing Higurashi. Finishing this. If not, I'm going to only do 2 chapters on Saturday and 2 chapters on Sunday to finish it. And then the weekend after that officially starts my vacation. I'll probably still be free to do a stream there. We'll see. Won't be doing Higurashi though, because I don't want to start it and then go to vacation. Might do something else. We'll see. All that said, we're done so. Thank you for sticking around, and yeah. Almost exactly 3 hours. Damn. See you all next time.